Spider-Man, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Channel Trips Podcast. I am your swinging host, Jay, and joining me as always are my two web warrior friends, Brian and Tony. How you doing tonight, fellas?
I'm doing alright.
Alright as well.
We're sticking to Marvel for a little bit. I hope you guys enjoyed the Cap episode, and once again, thank you to Trash for joining us. It was a great discussion. But yeah, this time we'll be talking about Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. You know, has it finally broken the animation curse Spidey has been under for the past decade of mid? With, Ultimate and then Spidey 2017, which, man, Spider-Man 2017 was so bad. It was really bad. Does it break that curse? We'll find out when we get to the main discussion. But before we get to all that, of course, we can't kick off an episode without first jumping right into the news with Brian. Take it away, Brian.
Hey guys, so before we get into the news, a little bit of in memoriam, unfortunately. But someone that you guys at home might not have heard about, but deserves cred. Roberto Orci.
Name's not ringing any bells.
He is a writer and producer. He got his start writing for Hercules.
Oh, like the 90s Kevin Sorbo Hercules?
Yep.
Nice.
But then he went on to write a few movies, like The Legend of Zorro with
Antonio Banderas?
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that movie.
He also did Mission Impossible 3, the first two Bayformers movies, all three of the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies.
Oh.
But then he went back to TV and created a little-known TV show called Fringe.
Oh, he made Fringe.
Oh,
Yep.
That's cool.
Oh, nice. That was the only show that kept me still tuned into sci-fi.
And if that
Along with
wasn't
the
if he
Magicians.
and if that wasn't enough, he also then returned to the Transformers world to create a certain TV show named Transformers Prime.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit, Transformers Prime was amazing.
Yep.
I loved Transformers Prime.
Transformers Prime was
Yep.
sick.
And then more recently, he created the reboot for Hawaii Five-0.
Oh, I heard good things about that one. Doesn't that have Harry Shum Jr. in it?
No, he's in Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, okay, never mind. For some reason, I thought Harry Shum Jr. was in Hawaii Five-0.
But also, last but not least, a show special to us, Jay. He was also the creator for Sleepy Hollow.
Oh, nice.
So very, very talented writer, producer.
That was an underrated gem.
Yes, it was.
Wasn't
Indeed.
that a one-season wonder?
I think it was 2 seasons.
Oh, huh.
Or I have the internet. I can check with just a couple clicks. Oh yeah, that's right. It ran for 4 seasons.
It ran for 4. Oh, interesting.
But that's right. Because part of the thing was part of the reason why it went downhill is at the end of season 3, the lieutenant left the show.
Right.
And her sister took over.
Mm-hmm. It was basically like what happened in Charm, but a much less successful transition.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was a great show for while it lasted. Whatchamacallit, I forget her name now, but Harriet the Spy, she was also the little sister on Buffy.
Yeah.
She came into that show as I think Mary Todd Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was a very interesting show. Dude passed away at 51.
Wow, that's young.
Wrong.
That's young.
Kidney disease.
Ooh, yeah, you hate to see it. That sucks.
Yeah, you do. He will be missed. Very talented, underappreciated man.
For sure. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace. Now, on to the actual news. Now, originally, we were going to cover the big Avatar news, but then
Comic Pro happened.
James Gunn and Peter Safran decided to have a
Massive
weird-
info dump?
It was behind the closed doors press event.
Yeah, it was part of Comics Pro, technically, because to fill people in, and I'll talk about this more in depth on Comic Chaser next week, so tune in. But Comics Pro is a retailer event for comic book retailers. It's a big summit, and since DC's really pushing the Summer of Superman, they had Gunn is involved in a couple comic projects. I think he's consulting on the Peacemaker Peacemaker Vigilante mini, and I think co-writing something else. So they had Gunn and Safran there, and since Gunn and Safran just didn't want to show up empty-handed, they decided to announce all of this shit like the weekend of Comics Pro.
Well, it's not exactly announcing a lot of shit.
Well, yeah,
it was more
production updates, I guess, is more
status
accurate.
update.
Yeah, production updates.
Okay, and so first of all, they announced that the DC has plans for the next 6 years to produce each year roughly 2 live-action films, 1 animated film, 2 live-action TV shows, and 2 animated TV shows.
I also appreciate like the bit that that Gunn and Safran talked about their process, where they're like, yeah, no, our main thing is we focus on getting a good script first.
I was gonna get there.
Because, you know, if the script sucks, everything else falls apart. I'm looking at you, Blade.
Oh yeah, but I was gonna get there. But first of all, to follow that up about what I said about 6-year plan is at the end of that 6 years, there will be a massive endgame type event.
Interesting.
Yep. But Gunn did reiterate that he still hopes that every project will be a standalone project, like you can watch it without watching the other things.
That's good because like I think like homework has kind of become the detriment of the current MCU. Not to, you know, cross the streams here, but like if that's true, it's a very smart move, because like you know, you need, most of your tickets are going to come from the general audience, so, and most of them aren't going to bother watching everything. Nerds like us are going to watch everything, but like we're but a fraction of like what you want to see box office wise and like rating wise.
And in that process you can end up sometimes doing 2 negatives that we've talked about before, and that is the Captain America, where so much time happened between the films that if you didn't see the show, you might be lost.
Or worst case scenario, what happened with Wanda in Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, that's the other one that I was going to mention. The other side of the pendulum.
Yep.
Is they end up just reiterating what the show already did.
Therefore, undoing all of the character development that was so well done through the fucking show.
But speaking, sorry.
No, you're good. I was just grumbling about how Multiverse of Madness fucked WandaVision.
But speaking about TV show, here's some updates about live action shows. Peacemaker Season 2 will be coming out in August.
Yep, I'm excited for that.
Lanterns will be coming out early next year, and Gunn did say will tonally be different than Superman.
Okay.
It was previously like internet reports that claiming that the show will be very adult and very weird.
And this, like from what I remember, so we know it's gonna be John, right? Because the dude from Rebel Ridge is John Stewart. So it's John, Hal, and Guy.
Nope, just John. It's John and Hal in like Hal. A buddy cop type thing. Kyle Chandler is Hal.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I remember his casting. Okay, so it's just Guy and Hal. So John and Hal. So Guy's just off doing other stuff, I guess.
Yeah, it's John and Hal, and it is said before that it's going to be like True Detective inspired, and there was some like announcements that came out about casting with like local cops and stuff, and also Sinestro, but the only thing is the actor we don't really know. He's a Belgian actor.
Oh man, I thought they were going to give Mark Strong a second chance.
If they were actually going to give that opportunity to that man, because he never got a chance to.
Mark Strong never gets to play his DC villains. Every time he's tried.
Well, the only time that he got to was when he was playing the recast of another.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because also, like Dr. Savannah was so forgotten that they made it a fucking post-credit gag in Shazam 2.
Yep, and also Zachary Levi has like opened his mouth so much that I doubt we're gonna return to that franchise.
We're probably gonna return to that franchise, just not with Zachary Levi.
But anyway, Waller has been put on pause because they can't seem to find the right
Yeah, right
story.
script. Yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
Rumor is that the latest draft includes Deathstroke.
Interesting.
Okay.
Booster Gold, unfortunately, also is going through some snafus.
Yeah, yeah. Like, isn't it like they had a like a showrunner that was interested, but they moved on because they're doing other projects.
Well, they said that they had a showrunner that was they were waiting for the showrunner to make time for it, but maybe he fell out of love with it or got busy. But we had to pivot.
Oh, dang. You hate to see it.
So maybe a movie, maybe animated, maybe a blue and gold thing.
Maybe they'll at least tease a little bit of it in Jaime's animated series,
which I'll get to later. But Paradise Lost also has had no development yet, though they still have interest in it.
I mean, I'm interested in it.
I'm very curious
But
to see what they
like
do.
I'm one of the like I'm a Greek mythology horror, so like
Yeah.
you fucking give me a show that's the ancient Amazon in the DC universe, because like it's weird, right? Like aside from maybe like Greg Rucka's run in the 2000s, which is personally my favorite Wonder Woman run, Diana never, like, they don't really like go deep into the Greek mythology stuff with Diana. They did in New 52, which is why I actually really like the initial New 52 run of Wonder Woman. Like, say what you want about the New 52, but Wonder Woman was a fucking banger. I love that series. That was really cool.
Yeah.
They actually made Ares into a real character. It was fascinating. But yeah, I hope that it gets off the ground. Like, I want to see it. You got like a fucking sword and sandals, ancient Greece set, Amazon show. Sign me the fuck up.
Yep. And they said that it's meant to be Game of Thrones inspired. But yeah, moving on, like you said, Jay. Gunn did say that they were focused on scripts this time, to where if something doesn't have a good script, they'll put it on the back burner. But also, if somebody comes to them with a good script for something new, they're gonna run with it.
Oh yeah.
And to that effect, that's where we got Mike Flanagan's script for the Clayface movie.
Oh, nice. Yeah. And I remember I did read something like that Alan Tudyk is not going to be playing Clayface, because that was only a minor role in Creature Commandos. And it wasn't really like a full-fledged thing.
Initially, he was just a placeholder, like voice actor. And initially, this movie was going to be in the Reevesverse, but then they decided to transition it to the DCU, and it will be DCU canon.
Oh, cool.
And they recently found a director for it.
Did they say which Clayface it's gonna be?
No.
Interesting.
Just that Gunn said that it's one of the best scripts that he's ever read.
I mean, given for like popularity and simplicity's sake, because it's the one most people know, they're probably gonna go with Basil Karlo. Even though, like, a fun fact for people, like, Basil Karlo actually did not have any powers until the 90s.
Yeah, he was just
the serial killer. He just stabbed people to death.
And we saw that iteration of Basil in Batman Cape Crusader.
We did. Like, again, me and Tony always talk about Sasha from Forget the Comics. We're like addicted to those videos. She has a whole playlist on the Mud Pack and the Clayface saga with the various Clayfaces. Really interesting stuff.
Nice.
Go check it out. Clayface has a lot deeper lore than you'd think, and some weird shit. It's really fucking weird.
Also, if it is Basil, Gunn did also confirm earlier that he did not die in Creature Commandos.
Oh, nice. That's good. I mean, I think, like, for the most, like, it's pretty easy to write that one off, because, like, Basil's like Sandman, where, like, as long as a particle exists, he's still alive.
Yeah. Gunn said it's going to take a lot more than that to kill Clayface. But
I am glad
the
that
new
I am glad that it's not Tudyk though, because like Tudyk is already Clayface and Harley Quinn as well.
yeah,
So,
and if he ever shows up in the DCU,
yeah,
I hope
I
it's
want it
live
to-
action Phosphorus.
Yeah, I want it to be, and I want it to, and like that way we can have like the goofy, fun Clayface over there, and have like serious, scary Clayface in
Yeah.
in DCU proper. And I mean, we know it's gonna be scary because it's Mike fucking Flanagan.
Yeah.
Yep. And the director that they got for it, they just recently announced, is James Watkins.
Yeah.
He's known for directing Eden Lake, the Daniel Radcliffe Victorian horror movie, The Woman in Black.
Oh, the Woman in Black is
Oh,
great.
yeah.
I love the Woman in
That is
Black.
brilliant.
And most recently, last year, he did Speak No Evil, starring James McAvoy.
I heard really good things about that movie.
Yep. So that's on track, but unfortunately, what isn't on track is The Authority. It's been put on the back burner now because they can't find a right script for it. Paraphrasing here, part of the reason why is it's harder now to make a script for it now that we have the voice.
And also, to be fair, like the source material itself doesn't really have that much in way of structure, so I can imagine that it's much more difficult to adapt.
And unfortunately, James Mangold, I believe that's his
James
name.
Mangold, yeah, who was doing
Mangold.
who was doing the who worked on Old Man Logan and Wolverine, who was gonna do the Swamp Thing movie.
That's still hopefully in production, but they still don't have a script for it. But what they do have a script for, and it was officially announced before, because I think it was only like rumored before, but now it's officially confirmed by Gunn himself that they are doing a Teen Titans movie.
You know what's crazy though? Like even though they blew the entire budget on that one episode and therefore like fucked the entire series from then on, that first episode of the DC Universe Swamp Thing series is amazing.
It is.
Oh yeah, it was. But yeah, Teen Titans. Teen Titans are officially go for the movie.
I see what you did there.
It's gonna be written by the same woman that's doing the Supergirl movie.
Cool.
She's already sent in the first draft, but it still needs finishing touches. But James loves what she's got so far, and basically it seems like this was another surprise where she came to him with it, and because she is very passionate about this.
Nice. That's always good to hear.
Yep. Also, a script they didn't say who's writing it, but a script is being written currently for a possible Deathstroke Bane movie.
See, that one I scratch my head at because I'm like, where is the overlap here? Why? Like, I don't see how these two intersect aside from being Batman villains. Like,
honestly, yeah. Maybe
it's just like
mercenary Deathstroke is sent in to stop Bane's criminal ring.
It just feels like this one, like out of all these ideas, this is the one where I'm just like, all right, now you're starting to sound like the Sony Spider-Verse. You're trying to make this happen when it doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, it seems a bit ridiculous.
Yeah. Then Gunn himself said that he is working on a new script for something that is unannounced.
Ooh.
Though apparently people in the room got the feeling that it might be Superman related, though Gunn did confirm that it is not a sequel.
Interesting.
So rumors are that it might be like a World's Finest, or
that would be cool because they did because I did see like one of the quotes that I saw floating around everywhere was that Gunn did mention that, like, oh, of course he confirmed, and I'm sure you were gonna get to this, but he confirmed that like Arpats and the Batman are staying in their own universe, but also there is a possibility for the new Batman to actually appear in other stuff before Brave and the Bold happens.
Well, we've already seen him in Creature Commandos.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, Gunn did say that the script for Batman Part 2 isn't done yet, which is why it's taking so long.
Mm-hmm.
And that, like you said, Jay, despite rumors, Pattinson will not be DCU canon.
Matt Reeves had only apparently sent in drafts, but they were really, but Gunn and Safran were really engaged with what they've read so far, at least.
Even though they're apparently supposed to be starting filming later this year.
Honestly, I'd rather them take their time than rush the shit, so...
Yep, and with how long it's taking, Pattinson said that when they finish the whole thing, he might end up retiring.
I mean, I'm sure it's like super physically demanding and emotionally, considering the places that he's taking his particular Bruce.
Yep, but one last thing about Bruce. We have news about the Raven the Bolt.
Nice.
Andy Muschietti, I believe that's how you say that.
Muschietti, the It director.
Who also directed.
We don't need to
Flash.
mention. Yeah, we don't need to mention.
Well,
that
actually, we do because that might have involved what I'm about to say.
Oh no.
And this is an exact quote.
Oh no.
That he is not involved with the development of Brave and the Bold, and the script will be shown to him after completion, which will lead to the final decision of who will direct.
Interesting. So he's like on a short list, but I kind of feel bad for the guy because like he was given a hatchet job. Like
yeah.
Like
but,
I don't with you could like I haven't seen the movie. Tony has, but just from hearing Tony's descriptions, like that has movie by committee written all over it. So really, it shouldn't like a good chunk of that blame shouldn't really fall on Muschietti.
Yeah, it's very here. It's not an exact comparison, but it's a very apt one. It's how Multiverse of Madness was handled.
Yeah, okay.
But with worse degree.
I can see that. I can see that.
In my humble.
I can see that. And also, with the direct wording from Gunn and the talks earlier, people are theorizing that maybe Brave and the Bold is the secret script that Gunn has been working on.
Oh, yeah, that could make sense.
Because he has openly admitted that he's a big Batman fan.
And I mean, okay, let's be honest. Even though Superman is what started DC, Batman is what makes the money. So you don't want to fuck that one up. So
yeah,
it makes sense that like Gunn would get involved personally with this one.
Yep, and he also confirmed. By the way, a little bit of a side note. Little bit back, there was a selfie that went viral of him and Zack Snyder.
Oh yeah, I did.
And
see
people
that.
are like, does that mean that they're working on a new project together, or what? Gunn confirmed himself that no, it was just a troll.
Yep, and they were just chatting because like he actually really likes Zack's work, especially like a lot of his earlier stuff, like his Dawn of the Dead, which I still hold is a great fucking movie.
Which, by the way, Jay, you know who wrote Dawn of the Dead?
Who?
James Gunn.
Oh, really? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're friends. They've been friends ever since then.
Oh, that's awesome.
But moving on, lastly, to the animated side of the world. Updates on things that we already knew were happening. Blue Beetle is still happening, and it will be a direct sequel to the film, with the film's cast returning to do the voices.
Nice.
And then, but things are a little bit more hazy for a dynamic duo. If you remember, was that animated film that was announced?
It's going to be like that claymation 3D hybrid from the new studio, or not new studio, but like relatively up and coming studio.
Dick Grayson, Jason Todd type thing, which at one point said that it might go into their origins. Well, it's still happening, but Gunn is still trying to decide on if he wants it to be DCU canon or an Elseworlds story, and it's just having a hard time, like, basically, he didn't say this, but like fitting the puzzle piece into the bigger overarching world.
Yeah, he's trying to decide if it's the right fit for the universe. No, that makes sense.
And then, as far as 3 new shows were announced.
Yeah.
Animated shows. First of all, My Adventures with Green Lantern.
I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm really interested in this, but I'm also very surprised. One, like, it's a Green Lantern show set in the My Adventures universe. 2, the protagonist is a teenager in high school, which is definitely different because obviously Clark and the planet interns, or the planet staffers, are like fresh out of college, early 20s. So that's definitely different. But also, they chose Jessica Cruz of all people.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like,
Do.
and Jessica's cool. Like, I actually really like Jessica. I think like Jeff Johns really cooked with that whole with the whole her inheriting the power ring from the Crime Syndicate universe. I thought that was a really cool element, and like her arc about her getting over her agoraphobia was awesome.
And the trauma that caused her agoraphobia.
Yep, but yeah. So this time she's just gonna be a regular Green Lantern. That's cool, but I'm not gonna lie, man. Like maybe this is just because I'm a '90s kid and I grew up reading comics in the '90s, but my Green Lantern will always be Kyle, and Kyle never gets any love, man. He never
People
gets.
always shit on
He's
him.
never in any animated adaptations, bro. Never.
Not true.
And,
True.
He showed up. He showed up in JL. He showed up.
And he was, for a time, in the Timverse as the predominant Green Lantern.
Yeah. It was one of those situations where like before they formed the actual JU like Justice League series, how originally in the Timverse Barry was Flash.
Yeah.
And then Kyle was the Green Lantern, and then they actually showed off Aquaman in there. Yeah.
also, the way that they described the show, which I don't have the exact quote now, also kind of reminded me of Ben 10.
Yeah, it definitely does. Because it talked about like Abinsur's spaceship like crash landing and bringing alien threats.
Yeah. Like there's an active like alien war going on that leads into Earth.
Which is going to be interesting because like Superman already deals with a lot of like alien tech on the black market type stuff. Finally, we're going to get to see stuff other than fucking Kryptonian technology. Jesus Christ.
Indeed.
You mentioned Abensor's ship, so does that mean Jessica's gonna get a Kyle's origin?
I don't think they said Abensor.
They mentioned Abensur. Well, they mentioned a Green Lantern ship. It's probably going to be Abensur. She's probably going to be the Green Lantern of that universe. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be one of those cases where she's the rookie and she'll get to meet a Hal.
That is so funny. That is so funny.
Yeah,
she's taking Hal's origin.
Which makes sense because they're not gonna be. She's not gonna be having her original origin. So mixing and matching with Hal, who has the most well-known Green Lantern origin, makes a lot of sense. It's pretty easy shorthand.
Speaking about DC heroines with origins, another new show that was announced was Starfire.
Yeah, so judging by the graphic, it looks in the same like font style as My Adventures, but like I don't know if that means it's set in the same universe because it's not called My Adventures with Starfire, but like the font looks very similar to the font they use for My Adventures with Superman and Green Lantern.
Kinda, but also this one is interesting because it's a prequel.
Yeah.
It's gonna be about her journey to Earth.
Which is interesting because, like, if you guys don't know Starfire's origin, she's basically Space Spartacus. So that's gonna be awesome to see.
Yep. Also, she's got new friends to help her along the way, including, oddly enough, Crush, aka Lobo's daughter.
Yeah, who is like a super new creation. Like I think like she was made for Damien's team in like I want to say like 2016, 2017.
Yeah, and a character named Fern who looks to be a very obscure plant-controlling princess from Crisis on Infinite Worlds.
I was gonna say, does she have purple hair and do magic?
Crisis of Infinite Earth.
I'd love to see that Fern interact with Starfire.
But also the Fern from Critical Role interacting with Starfire would be great. But last on this little team Starfire is, oddly enough, Amethyst, the princess of Gemworld.
Yeah. Why?
Yeah, that was the biggest, Cause like you want to talk about obscure, weird, deep cut, fucking Gemworld. Like I don't know. Like I like the supernatural side of the DC universe. I explore it a lot. Gemworld is one of my blind spots. I know fuck all about Gemworld.
Mm-hmm.
I did think those like shorts that they had on Cartoon Network were really cool. You remember that they actually came out with like little DC shorts, like, and they had a set of shorts for Amethyst. It was like around the same time that they had that one big Teen Titans short where they unmasked Red X and Beast Boy's like, I still think you're Jason Todd.
Everybody does. But last on our docket today for the news was a third animated show. Don't know if y'all heard about this.
Yeah, Superpowers, right?
DC Superpowers.
Yeah.
This one
has been in development limbo forever. This has been people have been trying to make this since the Legion of Superheroes cartoon. There have been iterations of concept art floating around for this for years. This was originally Gotham High. And then it transformed a little further into like, I think they called it like Justice League High School or JLA High or Justice High, something like that. And then now we have their current iteration.
And the show will take place within the Alliance School of Heroes, and it will star teenage versions of Lightning, Flash, Plastic Man, Aqua Girl, Green Lantern, and Terra.
Yeah, so the interesting thing is, like about that when I read those character names, they say Flash.
Yeah.
They don't say Kid Flash.
Also, they don't say which Lantern.
Like the thing that throws me off is that they say he's a teenager and they say Flash. So I'm like, so is he the Flash or is he Kid Flash? Because obviously it's either Bart or Wally. My money's on Wally because Wally's more popular.
Could it be that in this iteration of the world, Barry is already dead?
The crisis happened super fucking early. Damn.
That it happened while Wally was still a teenager.
That's really fucking rough. That's really fucking rough. Because, Wally, I believe, he was still technically a teenager when he first became Flash, but he was like 17, 18.
Yeah, he was definitely on, the stepping stone of adulthood.
He became Flash around the same time that, Dick officially retired a little bit after Dick officially retired the Robin mantle, but before he became Nightwing.
That's interesting.
It's just interesting that they labeled it as Flash and not Kid Flash. It bugged me this entire time because I was like, alright, so is he Flash or is he Kid Flash?
But
that's an important distinction, DC.
Yeah, indeed. But one of my favorite things about this show is that who will be serving as the principal for this high school.
Yeah, Jean Jones. I think that's perfect because he's usually when done right, he's the heart of the team, and also he's the most empathetic and understanding. So him being a headmaster / principal makes perfect sense.
But yeah, that's it for the news.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited for all of these. So the DCU's future seems really bright, and I'm excited. Clearly you guys are excited too because you loved our Creature Commandos episode. I always forget to do this at the top of episodes, so I'm going to do it now. Once again, thank you to everybody for watching. You guys have been showing our latest bits of content a lot of love, and we really appreciate it. We know we're a smaller channel, and we tend to gap for long periods of time. But we do appreciate you guys showing support, giving us views. But also don't forget to drop those likes as well. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. All the standard YouTube things.
Yeah.
Currently, as of recording, our latest episode to go was the Pokemon one, which is currently at 15 views.
Nice, cool. That's awesome to hear. All right, so. Moving on from the news, we're going to jump to the next segment, which is, of course, Screen Time. Screen Time is the segment of the podcast where the guys and I all discuss the pieces of media we've consumed in between podcast episodes. That can range from anything between movies, and TV shows that we haven't had time to cover on the show. Anime, manga, video games, well, I usually say comics, but now that I have a show dedicated to comics, I've kind of moved away from that. But at least for me, but the guys can talk about comics if they've read anything. But yeah,
and I will.
So I'll go ahead and start. This is not an ad, but I'm gonna plug it because I really like this movie. If you have Peacock, Nosferatu is on Peacock.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, go watch it if you haven't. It's great. I watched it in theaters when it came out. I watched it again recently because I found out it was on Peacock. Because shout out to boy Corey, he told me that it was on Peacock. And yeah, it's a really fun take on Nosferatu. Really fucking horny. But I mean, it's a vampire story. All vampire stories are really fucking horny. But like this one is like super horny.
And it's a remake of like one of the oldest horror films in movie history.
Yeah, it's so interesting to kind of see the parallels between like the different versions because like each kind of follows this like Nosferatu is one of the founding films of the German Expressionism movement, which is a very like darker, more nihilistic, like distrusting of authority type of film. And this isn't something that like I knew off the top of my head. I actually found this out by watching a video a while back from a channel that I love called Be Kind Rewind, when she talked about Nosferatu, and she compared the different adaptations. She mentioned an interesting coincidence that like all three Nosferatus were created during the time of a global pandemic at different points. The first one was an outbreak of the Spanish flu. The second one, I think it was like influenza or some shit. Again, I'm probably getting it wrong, but obviously the third one was written and produced mostly during COVID. And plague imagery and stuff is very is one of the shared elements in all three. So like it's just kind of an interesting lens to look at it from.
Yeah, because Count Orlov is very rat in his appearance.
Oh yeah, he's it's interesting. In this one, he's not as grotesque, but he's not a sexy vampire either. It's a nice middle ground.
Yeah,
nice.
But yeah. So I rewatched Nosferatu. I thought it was awesome. What other stuff? I checked out because I've been getting into the recent New Gods series by Ron V, which I covered in the most recent episode of Comic Chasers that I put out. Go check that one out if you haven't. It's a really interesting, big, sprawling epic, but because of that, I realized that like I don't really have much info on the New Gods outside of stuff I've seen on like Superman the Animated Series and JLU and JL. So I went back and I watched some videos, like specifically talking about the Fourth World stuff and Jack Kirby and how he created it, and it's really fascinating. I watched a whole like 2-hour documentary just talking about the Fourth World and like Kirby's exit from Marvel in the 70s, and they have a lot of actual video footage of Kirby, like video interviews, because Kirby was a very magnanimous dude. He actually he gave a lot of interviews, and because he was alive up until I want to say like the late 90s or early 2000s, there's a lot of relatively modern footage of him. Also, fun fact, Jack Kirby was a short king. He was only 5'4".
Oh.
Yeah, and I've mentioned this before, but like if you listen to Jack Kirby talk, he sounds like you would imagine Ben Grimm would sound. Like it's that exact voice and cadence. I'm like, oh man, now I can't like unhear Jack Kirby now. I mean, and it makes sense because he says the Thing was the character that he like related to the most personally, because he was also a street tough growing up. But yeah, getting all this information about the New Gods and the Fourth World, like not only like the actual lore, but like kind of like the effort that was put behind it, really helped me to appreciate the work. And it honestly elevated the current New God stuff for me even more. And like honestly, I really like it. It's definitely not a book I would recommend for everybody, but like if you like big, sprawling like cosmic mythological epics, read New Gods. It's great. They go into some really interesting lore about like the previous worlds, because obviously, you know, Jack Kirby's New Gods are called the Fourth World. So they actually talk about stuff from the like the first and second world and the creation myth, and they go into like stuff about like the whole cycle of rebirth and resurrection that is very common in a lot of mythologies. In fact, I believe they even mentioned, like they mentioned specifically even in the New Gods issue, Kali Yuga, which is the Hindu cycle. So super interesting stuff. If you're a mythology head, like, and you like actually like the bigger, dense concept with beautiful art and great action, highly recommend the New Gods.
Yeah, this definitely sounds like a book up my alley.
Oh no, yeah, I would definitely recommend it to you, Tony. I think you would love it. It's a great book. But yeah, I checked out that video to kind of refresh my to fill in my gaps about the New Gods, because the only New Gods that I actually know have read their stuff is Mr. Miracle and Big Barda, because I really like those two characters.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to know more about the other people. Like, the only thing I know about Orion is that he's just an angry motherfucker, and he's like the son of Darkseid and stuff, and there are people like Light Ray and Forager and shit. I don't know anything about you guys, but yeah, it was interesting. Kirby is super creative. He's definitely, Stan was like not to disrespect the dead on either end, but like Kirby was a very good plotter for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like he knew how to tell a story and set up sequences, but like his dialogue is definitely very lacking. Like, there's a reason Stan and Jack's partnership was magic. Like, Stan's dialogue, definitely, in my opinion, feels a lot better. And I know a lot of people, like, especially nowadays, and I feel like, especially now that he's gone, people feel more comfortable, like, downplaying Stan and saying that, oh no, Kirby did it all. No, after, looking at a lot of Kirby's older stuff, no, it's clear that, while the partnership wasn't 50-50, it's definitely not one person was doing way more work than the other.
If from what you're describing, it sounds like a very 60-40.
Oh yeah, I would say 60-40 was exactly what I was gonna say. But yeah, so it's really interesting, and as a diehard lifelong comics fan, I'm getting to know more about one of the pillars of the entire industry. Was super fascinating. I also found a new channel. I want to say it's called it's either Nerdtastic Nate, but I know Nate is in the title. But he does some interesting comic book character analysis videos, and one video that I really like that I want to highlight that I checked out was one where he actually talks about the problem with superhero comic books because of their circular storytelling patterns.
Mm-hmm.
And it's essentially discussing how the reason a lot of diehard comic fans get burnt out on comics and feel unsatisfied is because both companies feel the need to constantly put the toys back in the box and not allow extended periods of growth like you did back in the Silver Age and the Bronze Age, when people didn't really care as much. Obviously the big example he gives is Spider-Man, and how Spider-Man is never allowed to win. He just takes L after L after L, and because Marvel has this twisted idea of Peter is only relatable when he's miserable. But he goes into a much deeper analysis than that. I'm not going to spoil the whole video, but definitely really interesting topic. Really got me thinking about kind of comic book storytelling as a whole. Wanted to shout that one out. I really enjoyed it. And then one fun video. Again, I feel like I should be low key part of the Casually Comics PR team with how much I talk about Sasha's channel on this podcast.
I think both of us should.
But
yeah.
But she put out a video. She finally put out the video, the full episode breakdown on the Brave and the Bold episode that like
Where
is the
Superman
massive,
was
yeah,
dick.
is the massive homage to like all of Superman's Silver Age super dickery. And oh man, it's so fun. I love Silver Age dickhead Superman.
I
think
mean,
it's hilarious.
the funniest thing about that whole episode, not only does it pay homages to like Soup's absolute dickery in the Silver Age, but comic covers, specific things related to Jimmy Olsen,
Yep.
and the whole crux of this episode, it's because Jimmy and Lois were gifted Red K.
Yep, by Lex Luthor in an attempt to like change Superman's personality. It's a wacky wild ride.
It's a fun ride.
Like Brave and the Bold, like is honestly, I've said it before and I'll say it again. It is my second favorite Batman animated series adaptation. Honestly, it might be fighting for my first favorite. Like as much as goated as Batman the animated series is, if you're a Batman comic fan, you get, and this might sound like blasphemy, but I feel like you get a lot more out of Brave and the Bold than you do from just BTAS.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's not like it's that blasphemous. I personally, with Brave and the Bold, it tells more of the comics history of the Silver Age.
It's a love letter to all of Batman's and all of DC's history. Yeah, which is why it's so good. If you're just a pure comics fan. But yeah, so that was a really fun video. Don't worry, Sasha, you don't have to pay me. I just love your stuff, and I was like, since we're talking about stuff that like really stood out in terms of like stuff we watched in between episodes, I had to bring that one up.
Yep, and she also did an entire video talking about like the newest Rogue book.
Yeah. The controversy or non-controversy around the Rogue Savage Land miniseries.
Yeah, and a whole
because people on the internet did what people on the internet do, and they can't let people just have fun with cheesecake anymore. Like
because apparently
they had to just pull the thread and try to make everything weird. Like, how old is Rogue actually? Like, guys, we weren't thinking about that before. Why are we thinking about that now? Do we really need to?
Like, who cares? If they're consenting adults, they're consenting adults. Age caps are fucking creepy, yes.
Yeah, like, but is it a little uncomfy? Sure. Yeah, I'll give you that. But like, they're adults.
But come on, folks. Okay, so it's a weird, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a double standard because it's like fictional characters and like real life actors. Because you've seen like old ass actors like like a lot of the old heads marry women that are like 30 years their junior.
Who's the guy that's famous for doing that in all around? Hugh Grant is newer. Fucking Cary Grant. Yeah. That guy is notorious for having a bunch of age gap romance movies.
Leo.
Well, Leo is infamous in the modern sense, yeah, because he has that like alleged like once you're 24 you're out the door rule.
Yeah. But we're talking about
yeah.
The comic characters, they're technically timeless?
Yeah. Like,
why would it matter? They're not real people!
And also, like, Rogue was, like, it's not like this is X-Men Evolution. Like, Rogue was never depicted as a teenager in the comic. Like, the only teenager at that time on that team, like, well, actually, no, Rogue wasn't around, like, Rogue wasn't on the team in the 80s. She was still a bad guy. But, like, the only teenager in the X-Men at the time, like, was Kitty Pryde and then Jubilee. Like, everybody else, like, unless they're explicitly, like, put in, like, a New Mutants teenage team and, like, are said to be students, they are all adults. Rogue was not a student at the Xavier School. Therefore, Rogue is an adult. Calm your tits, people. Like it's just a fun little romp in the Savage Land where we get to see her in that like iconic 1 million BC jungle bikini outfit. Come on, you can't tell me that like any like comics fan who was attracted to women, like dude or girl, doesn't have and read comics in the 90s, doesn't have that particular image burned in your brain somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I've got that costume lives rent free in my head. Even before Marvel Rivals, Malice's costume lived rent free in my head.
Yep.
Mostly because of how horrible the story was, but yeah. So yeah, that was also an interesting video for sure. But that's pretty much it for me. The other stuff is comics, and I'll get into like deeper discussion for that in Comic Chaser. So again, shameless plug is shameless. Tony, what about you?
Well, one thing that I kind of came across, even though I technically watched the first part of this like maybe a month or so ago, I just didn't mention it, but I saw the part 2 of the Watchmen animated adaptation.
Oh right, yeah, you did mention
That was
you did mention watching the first part, yeah.
Yeah, and much to my, well, I wouldn't say it wasn't surprising. It was a fairly faithful adaptation to Moore's and Gibbons' story.
I mean, yeah, because
Nice.
it's the same team who did the animated Dark Knight Returns, like 2 movies.
Yeah,
And
but
that team did a great job with that. Is it on Max?
it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
that's how I was able to watch it. But the thing that kind of surprised me initially about the adaptation is its style, where the characters are in Gibbons' art style, but they're like 3D models.
Interesting.
Yeah, and how the adaptation worked, at least to me, of course, for film purposes, they kind of streamlined everything because you don't get.
Yeah, because I'm sure they don't include any of like the extra stuff, like the Black Freighter, all that much. Like,
Well, actually, here's the crazy thing about the Black Freighter stuff, right? It's included.
oh,
Like, little bits and pieces of the Black Freighter are included because they are intrinsically part of the story.
oh yeah.
Because the kid Bernie reading Black Freighter, which had the old DC Shield logo on it,
Yep.
by the way.
Yep.
And like the overall adaptation to me is very like, seamless. It's so pitch perfect in the way the story was conveyed.
I mean, I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. I always feel like animation is the best form for adaptation of comic books, more so than live action films ever could be, because
I agree with that.
you don't have to deal with any of the constraint or the extra suspension of disbelief if it's animated.
And one of my favorite things about the adaptation is a lot of the voice casts in
Oh yeah.
the story.
Oh yeah,
Like,
I remember when you I remember when Brian put the trailer up. We reacted and mentioned how stacked that cast was.
But not to say that not all of the performances, at least to me, like the performances were great. It's how certain lines of dialogue are delivered, and it's not as like tone is kind of a problem for me. Like, since this is the ending of the story and we get to the whole plot twist now, I'm gonna put a small spoiler warning.
But it's like 40 years old.
Yes, but still, for the sake of, since the film is like a year old, adapting a 40-year-old story, but I'm still gonna put a spoiler warning anyway. But if you've read
you should also have seen, if you haven't, like go watch the Zack Snyder film as well, but the director's cut.
I have my own personal problems with that particular adaptation since I first saw it when I was in my early 20s, I believe. But I'm not going to get into that.
You weren't in your early 20s. You were definitely a teenager, because I was a teenager, and you're not that much older than me. Because this came out. It came out in like 09. It came out.
Yeah, it came out before I graduated. Yeah, I needed my aunt and uncle to take me to see that movie.
Real quick tangent. Funny story about Watchmen. I remember that is the only movie where my family left the theater and I stayed, because like I convinced them to take me to see Watchmen, because I was like, I like it, and they're like, so what is it about? Oh, it's a comic book movie. So they're thinking, oh, comic book movie. So they bring my little cousin and little brother, who are like maybe like 2 or 3.
Oh god.
Five at most at the time. And like, here's this movie with Dr. Manhattan and his blue dong just chilling, having an orgy with Silk Spectre with the multiple copies of himself, all that crazy shit, and they're just looking at me like, the fuck is this? What are you reading? And I'm just like, no, this. I was like, it's like, you know, and I'm just like, no, this is actually really good. They're being really faithful to.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
And so, like, most of my family left. Me and my dad stayed in the theater.
So the thing about that, now that you brought me up, before I actually can get to the thing I was going to mention, very little dong in this animated adaptation.
Oh, nice.
Like, it's tastefully hidden in some elements, but you only get to see blue dong
Cause I feel like Snyder just did that for shock value.
Yeah.
Cause I mean,
and
male full frontal is nowhere near as common
as female full frontal.
Well, like it's nowhere near as common back then as it is today. Cause male full frontal is pretty common nowadays with the advent of stuff like Game of Thrones and Euphoria.
Oh
yeah.
We've seen dicks. HBO has showed us a lot of dicks. Pause.
But my point is, like, the comic itself was very full frontal when it came to presenting
for sure.
John. And this is the one thing that the animated adaptation tried to do as tastefully as they can, except for like the big panel where he actually reshapes himself for the first time.
Yep.
That's where you get to see full blue dong.
Yep.
But every other time, very tastefully hidden away. But the thing that I want to mention is Adrian. Like, when his plan goes to full effect and he actually shouts the line, "I did it," it's very subdued. It's not as bombastic of a celebration. It's like, yes, I did it.
Yeah, interesting.
How it could be just how I heard the narrator voice in my head pretty much say when I read the story. When Adrian shouts, "I did it," it's very bombastic and celebratory.
Now, I'm assuming that since this is an animated adaptation, they actually do the giant squid.
They do. And you actually get to see elements of the squid being made. And like an extra thing in the adaptation is that you get to see a little bit of the squid before Adrian implements his plan.
Although people have always crucified me for this. I don't know why. But I will always say that I actually think that SQUID being an acronym for nuclear missiles actually fits the story more for Watchmen.
Yeah.
I feel like when I first read Watchmen, I saw like the whole giant squid thing. That was a little bit immersion breaking for me because everything else felt so like grounded and real, and then it took me back into comic book bullshit.
Not necessarily. Okay, so, and the adaptation actually does explain this very well. Even the original source material, much to its credit, tried to explain itself, but in the background, Adrian himself is the world's smartest man in this universe, so he dipped his hand into bits of different technological advancements, especially based on John's near god level power of manipulating atoms.
Yeah, and I mean that's how we got Best Boy Bubastis. I mean,
exactly. Bubastis is the test run of genetic manipulation, and so it is feasibly done logically in that universe.
I know it's logical, but like it also was very much comic science. You know what I mean?
It is like science, but there's like a tinge of realism that the adaptation, at least, does its best to try to convey how credible it could be with super science in a more realistic setting.
Interesting. I've been meaning to check this out. I was waiting for both parts to come out, so now that I know both parts are out, I'm definitely gonna give this a watch at some point.
And like, there's some parts of the adaptation, granted, because that aren't going to be in, which I was already aware of, because they're like a little tidbit of the lesbian taxi driver and her girlfriend having problems. It's not in the adaptation.
Yeah,
because it's very small.
Yeah, it's just little little filler world building scenes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's perfectly fine to get rid of it because it kind of gum up the gears of the adaptation's more streamlined story of Watchmen. But you get like the big hits like Old Guy Bernie and Bernie that's reading the Black Freighter comic. You get the Knot Tops, especially what happens later in the story before the attack on New York City.
And I'm sure like I'm sure they incorporate like the Minutemen stuff like
They in the first part of the film that like the duology they actually talk about the Minutemen. Although some parts of the adaptation go bar for what is said in the graphic novel, it is not. They don't show a lot of what happened to a lot of the characters of the a lot of the Minutemen in flashbacks.
Oh, that
They
makes
just
sense.
leave it as dialogue.
That makes sense. Because I mean, the
And
most important stuff is between Comedian and Silk Spectre 1, anyways.
no, what I'm saying is when Rorschach is writing in his journal about
how they all died, how.
There's no too very little flashbacks of the Minutemen that died throughout the years before Rorschach, the Second Night Owl. And the one thing about the adaptation that actually stayed true with animation, Dan's a husky fella.
Nice.
They kept him being husky.
Which fun fact, the reason they did that is also because like that was one of the running jokes currently at the time because Ted was in Justice League International and he had gotten fat.
Yeah, I have to give my kudos to the actor who played Dan. He did an amazing job with the material, especially when he comes unglued and shouts at Rorschach.
Well, it is Matthew Reese.
Yeah.
He did an amazing job as Dan. He did an amazing job.
Who was on? I believe he was one of the leads in The Americans.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was the husband.
And the only performance that I didn't really vibe with when it came to how the character should sound is two characters technically. It's both John and Rorschach to a degree.
It's funny because Jackie Earle Haley was so good that that is the voice I hear in my head.
Absolutely. And the motion comic to me really did a good job of presenting John vocally because
he's a hard character to nail down because he's very ethereal and ephemeral because he's existing in both simultaneously in the past, present, and future. So and landing that tone is very difficult. That's a pretty hard. That's a pretty big ask.
And I think the motion comic tried it with the motion comic. They didn't even bother trying to do that, so they made John just kind of speak in a very monotone voice, and that's kind of how I envision John to be very monotone, very just to the point, describing things.
Yeah, just terse, cold. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the cast list here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny that you point out those two particular because those are two out of the three actors who are known for live action and hadn't really done voice act work.
Really?
Yeah, the guy that did John is most known for being Professor Pig in Gotham.
Huh.
Oh, not to say that his performance was bad. What I'm saying is that his vocal cadence
it didn't match the voice in your head. I feel you.
It doesn't really. It's not as cold sounding, for lack of a better way. It's not.
There's too much emotion in it.
So it's kind of the similar problem I had with Snyder's adaptation of Watchmen. The gentleman that he tapped to play John had more emotion in that performance than the gentleman who played John in this adaptation, but there's still a hint of feeling in there. And John, when he becomes Dr. Manhattan, he is supposed to be very analytical and unfeeling.
Yeah, because he's transcended humanity. He doesn't really have a need for any of those, any emotions or attachments. Enlightened in a sense. Yeah. I will give the guy, the actor, credit though. His last speech talking to Adrian was handled beautifully. It's because when he says, maybe I'm going to go to a different galaxy and make my own and start creating my own humanity. Maybe I'll go to the DC universe and fuck with it and create the New 52.
Yeah, we're not gonna get into that. But when he tells Adrian, nothing truly ends, that is the line that they needed to land, at least to me, when it comes to John.
Side
And
note,
they actually did that.
Side note, they didn't do any Doomsday Clock shit, did they? Like, they didn't show Dr. Manhattan peeking into the DC universe or anything like that?
No, he just...
Okay.
He...
Good. It just ends where the comic ends. Good. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted. I was like, well, Doomsday Clock is done, and it technically is canon now. I was wondering if they were gonna fuck with it, but good. They didn't add any of that.
And it's the graphic novel, the way the graphic novel ended. And also, for the gentleman who played Rorschach, I don't, like, a lot of the more emotional parts of the performance, I didn't get that much emotion from Rorschach, especially, spoilers for the film and 40-year-old comic, the moment where he dies. That's a moment, at least to me, and it could be just because Jackie Earle Haley did an amazing job with that particular performance.
Interesting. You have the opposite problem for these two characters.
For me,
That's no. I'm just
the last
just kind of stating an observation, because, like, you know, you said
yeah.
your problem with Manhattan's voice actor was that he had a little too much emotion, and he's supposed to be a little bit more unfeeling, whereas you didn't feel enough emotion from Rorschach's voice actor. It's interesting.
No, it's more so from the final, like, Rorschach's final moments, where I want to have a little bit more despair, because this is what Rorschach, uncompromising, objectivist view of the world, led to him just feeling this bit of despair, and I just wanted him to say do it with a more, like, sadder.
More like desperation. Like, because Jackie Earle Haley definitely had, like, that sense of finality to it.
Yeah, but the performance itself, the way the voice actor portrayed Rorschach, overall the performance was so good. It's not like, maybe it is unfair to compare this actor to Jackie Earle Haley's performance, and not to make it a horse race between the two. Both did an amazing job with their performance. I just wanted a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for?
You know what top tier in-demand voice actor I think would have been a perfect fit for Rorschach, considering he's played these kinds of characters in previous, like, video games and shit? Baker. I said Booker because I was thinking Bioshock.
Well,
yeah.
It's funny you say that, Jay, because Troy Baker is Ozymandias.
Oh, shit. Huh.
Yeah, and his performance, he didn't sound like Troy always does amazing work, but I didn't see him as that great of an Adrian.
See, there's the problem, is they cast him in the wrong part, it seems.
Oh yeah, I definitely think he would have killed it as Rorschach. If he played Bioshock, man, he would fucking annihilate it as Rorschach.
Yeah.
The whole crux of this story, at least to me, is getting a good Adrian. And this is a solid adaptation. Don't get me wrong. I actually love this adaptation. Both films did an amazing job adapting this story that initially got me really reading comics and just kind of exploring the meanings and themes of comics and learning the history behind the creation of this particular story. I wanted an Adrian who is so calculating yet could be outsmarted by a being more powerful than him. And Troy did his best with
the thing about comics, though, and like the thing about, and you know what I always say about animated movies, animated movies will never match the performances you have in your head.
Oh yeah, and I'm acknowledging that. With Adrian, the voice I hear in my head is the Adrian from the motion comic. And I think it's that vocal performance that I hear that really exemplifies how Adrian Veidt sounds, at least to me.
Okay. Well, other than the Watchmen movie, is there anything else you want to highlight real quick before we move on to
Pixar's first ever show. Win or lose.
I'm in. Check that out.
I'd heard
it's
about
actually it's for all intents and purposes, it's about a local softball team. And the first story, like the first episode, is a story that really hits home to me.
Well,
granted, I did play t-ball basketball when I was younger, but the main crux of the story is this girl named Lori wanting to impress her coach dad for playing softball, but she's a child of divorce and just wants to make her dad proud. the story itself was very wholesome. And the second episode talks about the, I think it's umpire, the gentleman that calls out strikes, balls.
That is the umpire, yes.
I was trying to make sure I remembered, like, correct terms. And
it's okay, you can ask me, I watch baseball.
Yeah, I wasn't, like, 100% sure, so thanks, Jay. His story is basic. He's the kid's teacher who has a big crush on one of his coworkers.
Oh.
And so his whole story is about his daily struggle on and off
Insert
the field.
Insert TikTok song here.
Yeah.
Don't fuck your coworkers. Don't fuck your coworkers. Don't. Fuck
Yeah.
Your...
From what I've heard, like a semi-anthology.
Yeah.
Where, it's all building up to the big game, but we get to see like how different characters got there.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. Lori's story being the first one. Her whole wanting to be a better player, even though she's very anxious, very nervous. That's where the weird, like, sweat creature comes around, feeding into her anxieties and insecurities.
And there.
And her dad being the coach of the team she's on.
Oh.
He made a joke about nepotism, but he wants his daughter to do a good job on the championship. He told her when, like, at the championship, that he asked point blank to his daughter, like, are you having fun? He had to call time just to have an honest conversation with his kid while playing the game. And I really got to give it to Lori as a character. She practiced so hard, and it just reminds me of my sporting experience of just wanting to just play the game, to just do what I can to be the best player I could be, given albeit not as, like, I have some coordination problems, but as Brian has mentioned, he's not the best with his coordination, or Jay himself. But
man.
Although I
was on a t-ball team at one point.
It's so funny. I love sports. I do, but I can't participate in any. Well, I mean, that's not entirely true. I played wheelchair ball.
But the point I'm getting at here is that each of the individual stories in the first 2 episodes of this show really convey certain emotions that people in various stages of life. It's a very Pixar thing.
I mean, yeah, that's what Pixar does.
Given the fact that this is like their first ever like fully animated series, they really picked a great concept.
I mean, is it though? Because they had a whole Monsters University series.
No, this is actually like their like first ever full like syndicated show. They did it for, it's like that show, like, it was more or less like a limited, like a mini series of sorts with a short episode count.
Oh, because like I know the Monsters University one was like an actual, like, a full animated series.
Yeah, that was like a Disney Plus exclusive. Yeah, but I think that this is the first time that they're actually doing, like, if I remember correctly from the trailer itself, it would be the first time they actually did something that wasn't, it's wholly original and not connected to.
Got you. It's a TV show that's not based off of an existing Pixar IP, is what you're saying. Okay.
Because they've also done
Sleep. Yeah, they did the Dream one that you recommended to us. The Inside Out
Dream
one.
Production.
Yeah.
This is the first TV show that is based on something.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got that now. Because I was like, there was also that Zootopia. There was also the Zootopia shorts too, and I believe they're actually going to come out with a full animated series for Zootopia at some point.
Yeah, that's all Disney. Zootopia's all Disney.
Mm-hmm. I can see how the confusion now.
It's hard to draw the line with 3D Disney.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely.
That's one of the sad things about dropping 2D. It's like it's hard now. It's way harder to distinguish between Disney and Pixar.
Yep. And it all started with Brave.
Mm-hmm. And I highly recommend this show to everybody. I'm not sure when the next set of episodes are going to be coming in, but what I do know is that I'm having fun with this little show, and I'm going to keep up with it.
Nice.
Also, catch up with Sakamoto Days. I just got to the episode where we meet Hisuke, this dumb motherfucker.
Oh, nice.
But we will be talking more about that on a later date.
Yes.
All right. So, Brian, last but certainly not least.
All right. First of all, I finished season 1 of White Lotus.
So, like, is it worth the hype? Because, like, again, this is a show
Yes.
that I've heard all my friends that are into TV have, like, talked about the show.
Personally, I think yes, it is worth the hype so far.
Nice.
Great cast. They all do a great job.
Good mystery. I've heard the mystery is really good.
In season 1, at least, the mystery is there, but it's kind of almost like an afterthought.
Yeah, well, from what I heard, like, it's more of like a plot device to unlock all the mess all the different characters have.
Kind of, but they don't really even address the mystery until way later in the series.
Interesting.
Like, they hint at it at the beginning, and then they don't really address it until beforehand. It's like most of the show is what's leading up to it.
Huh. Bold choice.
But most of the show is just like a character study, a social commentary.
I mean, I love character-driven shit.
Of like rich people, and because you've got the rich family visiting where the wife is like the owner of this big business, and you've got the newlywed couple, which he is like the latest line in a very rich family.
Gotcha.
And then you've got Jennifer Coolidge, who's just this heiress, and they're all coming to this.
I dug Big Little Lies. I like judging rich people and the rich people problem.
Oh yeah, it definitely has like a bit of that Big Little Lie. Like if you remember, also what was it called? Little Fires Everywhere.
Yeah, I was just about to say Little Fires Everywhere.
Yeah, and also similar to Little Fires Everywhere and Big Little Lies somewhat. Not a lot of good people in this show, and the ones that are kind of get screwed over.
Yeah. That definitely happened in Big Little Lies. Poor Shailene Woodley's character.
Yeah. But it's really cool. I really like the cast that do that like run.
The hotel staff. Yep.
And it's very definitely shows you like the horrors of the
service industry, hospitality industry. Yeah.
The hospitality industry, like for sure. And like I said before when I was talking about the first episode, a lot of familiar faces. They all do great jobs.
Man.
Funnily enough,
I know Nicole Kidman is doing a lot of projects, so she must have been busy. But like, seriously, every time somebody describes the show to me, I'm like, okay, so Nicole Kidman is in this.
Actually.
Oh, is Nicole Kidman in this?
No, but I could easily see Connie Britton's character being played by.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's she is not a good person.
I mean, Nicole Kidman is really good at playing detestable rich asshole bitches.
But and Sydney Sweeney is in it, playing her daughter, her college-age daughter. But this is gonna sound weird, but her character is kind of like a character out of Euphoria, but not the same character.
Which character?
Is she? No, I'm saying.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying which character is it like? Like which Euphoria character is she like then? If it's not her character, Kat?
No.
Is she like Kat? Is she more like Maddie?
No.
No. I would probably not Rue or Jules.
Maddie more so, because she's definitely like the rich girl, party girl, and because there are a lot of drugs in this show, like a lot. And just as a warning, also. There is some nudity. Mostly it's men asses, but we do get half of a boob at one point, and we get to see Steve Zahn's balls.
All right. I mean, not that I need to see more of Sydney Sweeney's titties. I've seen plenty of Sydney Sweeney's titties and a lot of.
Oh, it's not Sydney.
Oh.
It's Alexandra Daddario.
Oh, nice.
Who's the wife in the newlywed couple. Her story is that she was like a wannabe journalist coming up in the world and then fell in love with the rich pretty boy. But is she really ready to be like all that comes with being married to like a rich boy?
Interesting.
Where she doesn't have to work anymore and all that. But yeah, overall, I really like the show. Although I will say that I hadn't started season 2 yet because it's a heavy show, so I needed to take a break.
I figured as much. And it's an anthology, right? Like, it's a different story.
Yeah.
With the only common thread being the hotel for each season, right?
Well, different chains of the hotel.
Yeah. But I'm saying, like, the hotel, the hotel, like, itself, like, is the only consistent thing. Like, every season takes place at a White Lotus.
I think next season is Italy. Season 1 was Hawaii. And I know that season 3 is Thailand.
Ooh, interesting.
Where one of the hotel workers is played by a member of Blackpink.
Oh, cool.
But anyway, so that was good. I also checked out the first episode of Grosse Pointe Garden Society.
Oh yeah. That was the like the Big Little Lies, like adult Pretty Little Liars-esque show that we reacted to the trailer of.
Kinda, yeah, but this one is more like, well, ironically enough, because same showrunners, Good Girls. But this show itself felt more kind of like if you took early Desperate Housewives and Pretty Little Liars and mixed them together.
I got that.
You have four people from different walks of life who are all kind of currently in a limbo state of life.
And they end up getting pulled into a whirlwind murder.
Yep. Up until the murder, the only thing that brought them together was working at this garden society. One of them, Amy Santiago's character, is only there because of court-mandated service.
Yeah, right. She's the one that like is an alcoholic, right? Yep.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, cause I remember that joke. That joke from the trailer. It's I don't have a drinking problem.
What do I do for now? What do I do now? Well, I start by not having a liquid breakfast. But her character also has a lot of depth to her. All the characters do. It's really cool. I'm really liking it so far. It does have some funny moments.
Where's this on? Peacock again?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Well, okay. NBC that is also airing on.
Oh yeah.
But
most people nowadays don't have cable, so that's why I figured.
One of the things that is different about this show is kind of like if you've seen Pretty Little Liars, sometimes they'd show you like start with like a flash forward and then show you where we got there.
Yep. Here
they kept jumping back between the two timelines.
Oh, so they pulled a Lost.
Kinda, but it's only 6 months difference.
Okay.
But yeah, it's really cool. I'm really liking it so far. It's very, very messy.
I mean, the trailer, the trailer definitely showed us that.
Like multiple affairs in the first episode. I will say that this already has a plus to Pretty Little Liars because one of the characters, the blonde Anna Sophia Robb from like Bridge to Terabithia and all that, she plays a teacher, an English teacher, and she has a boyfriend that is age appropriate.
Oh, thank God! I was like, please don't. I was like, wait, you said it. At first, I was scared, but then I was like, wait, no, you said it has this takes it a step above Pretty Little Liars. I was like, oh, thank God, no student-teacher relationship.
Although she is an English teacher, which is
just a funny coincidence, yeah.
Yeah, but her story as a teacher more involves a psycho student. And you will get a kick out of this, Jay.
Okay.
He was told to write a poetry assignment, and he ended up just copying lyrics from Kendrick Lamar.
Just funny. What song?
I don't remember, but anyway, so that was good, and I could genuinely see that as like us covering.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think we mentioned that when we saw the trailer as well.
Yeah, so it lives up to the trailer. And then lastly, just bring up real quick, I did see other stuff, but nothing show-worthy, podcast-worthy. The last thing is, I actually read Eddie Brock Carnage.
Oh, nice!
#1. I saw it at the store when I went to go play D&D, and I thought, hey, why not? I don't think Jay's gonna read that. Might as well check it out myself.
So I haven't read it, quote unquote. Like, I flipped through it at the comic store. Like, I know the premise, I just don't know the finer plot point details. The premise is really cool.
Yeah. It's
basically, my bad, didn't mean to step on you.
For those that don't know, the premise is, it's written by Charles Soule with pencils by Jesus Saez, S-A-I-Z.
Yeah, we'll go with Saez. We'll go with Saez.
Yes. But the premise is basically that through the events of like King in Black and all that,
Venom War. not King in Black.
Venomore. Oh, yeah. Venomore and all that. Basically, in order to survive, Eddie had to merge with Carnage.
Yep.
And now in the book, it seems like what they're doing is in order to satiate Carnage's hunger. Eddie is purposely going out and seeking out serial killers.
Yeah, so I was going to give the elevator pitch, because I was like, yeah, the only thing I know about this, just from, like, flipping through it, is the premise, which is, what if Eddie Brock, as Carnage, was Dex? I know the first issue takes place, again, I didn't read it, but I flipped through it. I know the first issue takes place on a plane, and he has to figure out the killer on the plane.
Yeah, and the cool thing about that is, though, is that Carnage kind of has this, like, killer sense to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's like also because he's also using this to find a new better host too, right? Like if I find somebody I like, I'm just gonna jump onto them instead.
Yeah, and Carnage does have the power to like sense when a serial killer is nearby, and then like put his little tendrils. I don't know how else to say this, inside of people.
Yeah, like he literally like. He literally probes the entire plane with his Carnage tendrils to investigate.
Which
I saw that sequence.
Which that is one of the pluses about this book that I really like is Jesus's art.
Oh yeah, the art
really
is
good.
Great. I saw the one page again, just flipping through it of like where they're inside like Eddie's mindscape and like they're having like a one-on-one chat and Carnage is in this baller ass outfit, like it's like a suit. It's like a suit and the cane and shit. I'm like, yo, Carnage looks fly as fuck. He's like,
it's kind of like
he's got a Muzan outfit. He's like wearing the fucking Smooth Criminal Michael Jackson outfit,
but red.
I don't know what's up with bad guys and the Smooth Criminal Michael Jackson outfit, but man, they sure love it.
Yeah, it's really cool because that conversation happens because Eddie kind of like pushes the Carnage powers to save,
and he loses time. He loses time, and like they're the only survivors of the plane crash. It's like, wait, Carnage, did you eat those? Carnage, did you eat those people? And Carnage is like, I'm not telling you. I'm not gonna tell you what happened.
What are you gonna do about it?
What if I did, bitch?
There's nothing you can do. I'm inside your brain. I know you're not suicidal, and the only way for you to take me out is to kill me. Out.
Yeah, and I think it's also really cool because it also brings back a classic part of symbiote lore that goes back to the black costume. Because if you guys remember the original black costume saga with Spider-Man, something that the suit would do a lot is when Peter would go to sleep, it would jump onto Peter and pilot his body and take it for a joyride, and then he'd wake up and be like, the fuck happened?
Oh yeah.
The Raimi movies did a really good job of this with that one scene where he just ends up on like the side of the building. He's like, the fuck?
Yeah, but whatchamacallit, when it ends, well, what I was saying about the great art is there's actually two different splash pages in this. The one where he's probing everybody in the plane, and then another one where he's pushing the Carnage powers. And it's really well done, and you can definitely tell that this is the same guy that did New 52.
Is that the same guy?
Art-wise, yeah.
Oh, I was like, I'm pretty sure I don't remember that name doesn't sound familiar.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that name doesn't sound familiar.
Well, he worked on it at least.
Oh.
Maybe not the.
Oh yeah. So it might have been after I jumped off, because I jumped off after Snyder left. Like after like the first 12 issoes. So
but anyway.
Might have been then. But that's cool.
I really like it. It does end on an interesting note.
Yeah. Charles Soule is really good at doing like serial killer shit. Fun fact, to connect this to TV stuff, Charles Soule is actually the one who created the serial killer villain Muse, who's going to be featured in Daredevil Born Again.
Oh, indeed.
And Muse is fucking terrifying.
But speaking about Daredevil characters, this actually ends like the last page of the comic is Carnage saying, "All right, so who's who's next? And if I'm gonna be looking for a next host, it better be somebody with power. So you choose. And he's got this like board with hanging different photos of several different established Marvel characters, including Elektra, Bullseye, but also Hela, a bunch of like Marvel big name serial killers.
Elektra Daredevil with the Carnage symbiote sounds fucking sick. I'm actually reading an Elektra miniseries right now called Daredevil Unleashed Hell, because she's still Daredevil. She's actually fighting Muse in this miniseries, but it's like Muse's ghost possessing this young artist, because like spoilers for Charles Soule's run, and this is more recent, so I will give like a legit spoiler alert. Muse kills himself at the end of during his final battle with Matt.
Oh wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's intense.
The last thing that I'll say,
dude crawls his way back from hell and possesses this young lady, and they're doing some horrific shit. And because this miniseries is a Red Band book, they really get to go in on like the fucking grotesque horror show shit.
Nice. Last thing I'm gonna add, because I just remembered this.
Mm-hmm.
You talk about going hard and like being gross. For like potential and stuff. One of the people that's on the board of possible new hosts, Jean Grey.
Holy shit. That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's terrifying. The Phoenix.
So it'll be interesting to see where we go from here.
The Phoenix would not let that happen, but that's fucking terrifying. Ain't no way in hell the Phoenix is gonna let that happen. It's like, I was here first, bitch. I have squatters' rights.
I have annual conversations with your god.
I'm sorry about his death. It was sad to see him go from the group chat. All right. Anyways, I know this was a very, very long opening segment, but we are at the home stretch before we get to the main discussion, because we are finally getting to Trailer Talk. Trailer Talk is, of course, a segment of the podcast where our boy Brian has gathered together six brand new trailers as of the recording of this podcast, and through the magic of editing, we will cut real fast after reacting to said trailers, and then give you our rapid fire thoughts on each and every trailer. Spotify people will just go through and name the movies and shows that we talk about from the trailers, and you can look those up yourselves. But YouTube people, as per usual, Brian has provided a link to the playlist down below in the description. So if you want to pause the podcast here, click that playlist and watch those trailers for yourself and react along with us, feel free. But until then, please enjoy this word from our non-existent sponsor. And we're back. Okay, solid batch of trailers there, Brian. Fucking, where do we want to start?
Well, let's what does it Mary Poppins say? Start.
Yeah, it is a very good place. It is a very good place to start.
Long Bright River.
So, at first glance, I thought this was just yet another cop show, and I was like, whatever. I've seen a million of these. But this one is specifically focused more on sex trafficking. Okay, that's kind of interesting. All right, you're starting to get me a little bit, and then they hit you with like a big plot twist involving, the main cops, and the reason for the main cops' investment in this case. And I'm just like, all right, I want to know now. I'm a nosy bitch. Now I got to know.
Oh yeah.
And also the fact that it's a limited series incentivizes me a little bit more than if this was like a seasonal show, because I'm like, if it's a limited series, that means there's a beginning, middle, and end.
Oh yeah. Indeed. And I do like that this is about like a beat cop who's going off record, because usually these shows are about like a police detective who's been doing it all their life.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this person doesn't know anything about being a detective.
And I mean, Amanda Seyfried is an amazing actress, so like, I know she's gonna kill it.
Also, apparently, I will just say, the pink-haired girl was the main chick from Nosferatu.
Oh shit! That's why she looks familiar. Nice.
But yeah,
I thought she looked familiar.
This show looks like they're taking the typical ish that we see nowadays and adding a little bit of like spice and twist to it.
It feels more prestige for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It gave me kind of the same kind of vibe as the audience won't get this because it's a lost episode, but it gave me the same kind of vibe, just that trailer, especially by the end, of Love and Death, the Hulu miniseries starring Elizabeth Olsen that we did cover.
Not unfortunately, were we able to post that particular
We're
episode?
not. It's a lost episode, so like I said, the audience won't get it. But we all remember it. We watched it.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I really find interesting about this, this limited series, I really want to know like the real mystery, like the twists and turns, because as kind of a noir mystery horror, I want to see like red herrings, plot twists.
Yeah, and apparently it's based on a best-selling crime novel, so.
By an author named Liz, which is funny. Thing about it, because what was the main character of iZombie?
Yeah, Live More. It's one letter away.
Funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that looks promising.
Oh yeah, definitely surprised me by the end. Like I did a 180 on my. Okay, I actually want to check this out.
Mm-hmm.
And the other live-action TV show on this, completely different, but also took us by surprise. Deli Boys.
Yeah, that shit escalated quickly, and it has such an interesting premise. Again, watch the trailer if you haven't. Go to the playlist and stuff, or look it up. But these brothers who were just these pampered rich kids whose like dad owns like a chain of delis find out that their family is actually like a fucking crime syndicate, and the delis are an elaborate money laundering scheme.
Yeah.
And so, now that their dad is gone,
they get plunged into a life of crime, and I'm just like, oh, this looks fun.
Also, our lead, too, have, like, awesome brotherly chemistry.
It also reminds me of the other show that we reacted to the trailer to, and I've heard really good things about, but still haven't checked out, Interior Chinatown.
Oh, yeah. Also, the auntie is hilarious.
Yeah, the auntie was hilarious.
It's got a lot of, lesser-known character actors in this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and, I think one of the actors looks familiar to me. I can't quite put my finger on it.
I know one of them is like your go-to older Indian dad. Well, there are two of them in here. One of which was the dad on Big Bang Theory, played Raj's dad.
Ah.
That was the one with gray hair.
Gotcha.
And then I know I've seen their dad in a lot of shit. But anyway, sorry, you were talking about who?
Yeah, one of the brothers, the more pampered of the two.
Oh.
He reminded me of Napoleon from
Oh, you're talking
House
about. Oh yeah. Oh, you're talking about. I can never pronounce the guy's actual name, but dude from iZombie that works with Mike Flanagan a lot.
Oh yeah, Cooley.
Yeah, I didn't even want to attempt. I was like, I know who it is. I'm not gonna attempt to pronounce his name.
I think he that particular guy reminded me of him.
Oh, because he had the same kind of like pompous rich boy swag of that character from House of Usher.
I have to respect man's beard game. It looks immaculate.
Oh, he did have a fantastic.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that one looks fun, and that one the binge drop, so we might actually cover that one.
Mm-hmm.
We have time in the schedule.
The other brother, the shorter one, he was actually Norm in Agatha All Along.
Oh shit!
Oh,
cool.
Yeah, fucking Norm, man.
And that one, and this is gonna be on Hulu, right?
Yep.
Yeah, nice.
What you call it? Then there was a life list. Which...
That looks like a good feel good movie. I hope there's no sad twist in it, as Tony mentioned when we were reacting to the
Yeah.
Sad twist anymore, man.
But it
does see
like it feels
Sophia
like
Carson.
Kind of one of those not Eat Pray Love, but kind of in that same kind of spirit. It's like a self-improvement journey kind of book, like, finally getting out there, putting yourself out there, and doing what you want for yourself.
Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't get Victoria Justice.
You know who I was expecting, especially because I think it's a Netflix joint, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know who I was expecting? I was expecting Camila Mendes, because Camila Mendes has been doing a lot of Netflix stuff.
Oh, yeah. Although she's been lately doing stuff for Prime.
Cool. Good for her.
But good for Sophia Carson.
Yeah, I think this is the first thing I've seen her in outside of. Well, no, technically I saw her in that Pretty Little Liars: The Perfectionist. She was in that. She was actually pretty good in that. But this is one of the first things outside of The Perfectionist where that I've seen her in that's not Descendants related.
Yep. Wow. This is same director as Definitely Maybe.
Oh, cool.
That one where Ryan Reynolds played the caregiver uncle.
Yep, I remember that one.
Great little rom-com. So hopefully this will be cool. It's also apparently based on a book.
Nice.
By Lori Nelson Spellman.
Cool.
But moving on from a rom-com to an actual com. Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Road Trip.
So this looks fun, but like in a cheesy Disney Channel kind of way.
Yeah.
Like,
and
I wouldn't actively seek this out myself, but like I definitely feel like if you have kids out there in the audience, or like younger cousins or whatever, this would be a good one to put on. Just sit down with the family to watch.
Oh yeah, and I never watched the original, but this seems like it might be better than the original.
Yeah. I remember the trailer to the original, and it looked terrible, and pun intended.
Is that Jennifer Gardner and Steve Carell?
Which, to be fair, we saw in Christmas Wish that Jennifer Gardner is a solid comedy actor.
Oh yeah, indeed.
So, probably not her fault. But yeah, no, this looks fun. It's cute, but I don't think it's something I'm gonna actively check out on my own.
But you know what is cute? That you are probably gonna check out.
The fucking Dragonite the Postman.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that looks beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Dragonite is one of my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
And to see him as a postman with a little hat, that looks so dope. I love whenever we get to see other parts of the Pokemon world that are more mundane. It's so interesting to me. Because, like, everybody thinks of, like, big battles and stuff when they think of Pokemon. They think of the Pokemon League or even contests or performances. But I'm interested into seeing how, like, regular people live in the Pokemon world. Because, like, if there is any anime world I would actually want to live in, it's the Pokemon world.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's, like, creatures that could just absolutely wreck our stuff.
Shout out to my former tutoring students, but y'all are wildin' saying Attack on Titan and shit. No, I'm going to Pokemon.
So apparently from what I just looked up, it's gonna be just a 1 episode thing, 14 minutes long.
Oh, so it's a 14-minute short. Nice. Okay, cool.
I'm here for it. Love.
And also, don't know if you noticed, but our boy was in there as well.
Oh?
Wait, Coco.
I didn't see the Coco. Cool.
Like Coco was there? Yes.
Nice.
Let's go with Coco.
Nice.
Our absolute love him.
Yeah, we stand for Coco in this house.
Yep. But and it's also going to be released all on Pokemon Day.
Yep, it's going to be on Pokemon Day. They're probably going to drop it on the official Pokemon channel since like that's usually where they put all those shorts.
That's where they put the Bidoof short, where they put the Hisuian 2-parter miniseries.
I really loved the Galar Galar Wings, I want to say it was called. That was great. Loved that one. But yeah,
nice.
The Pokemon Company is really cooking with these shorts. I mean, we already see that they're getting more like experimental with content. With not as we talked about in the Horizons episode, which if you haven't listened to it and you're a Pokemon fan, go listen to it. It's a great episode. Not only are they getting experimental with the format with Horizons, which is the mainline series, but we also have stuff like Pokemon Concierge, which is so fucking good. Did we do a whole episode? We did an episode.
We did.
That one's out, right? Like that one made it. That one made it through. Okay, I was like, did that end up getting cut into the backlog?
I think it's the first episode of season 3.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So if you want to hear our in-depth thoughts about that, check that one out. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna check out this Dragonite the Postman.
Oh yeah, indeed. And then also gonna check out last, certainly not least, Wolfman.
The Wolf King looks dope as hell. Like that was one of those ones where like because Brian because Brian like shares the trailer playlist with me, so I can pull it up on my account so we can react and stuff. A lot of times that puts trailers in my algorithm. Most of the time I'll skip them, but like I was so curious about this thumbnail that I had to click it. So I actually have seen this trailer before, and it looks dope. First off, hats off to this team for doing like a totally claymation, and you can tell it's fully claymation because like none of that looks CG or like 3D rendered. It looks all like straight claymation, and that is a lost art form.
And it looks beautiful.
It does. So fucking fluid. And like the action looks like just really kinetic. The faces on the characters are very expressive. This just looks like it's gonna be an awesome, like action-packed fantasy show.
Yeah, and who knew that claymation could go that?
I mean, I did because I watched Kubo and the Two Strings.
Oh right.
Kubo and the Two Strings has some fucking great act in it.
I think one of my favorite forms of like this style of animation is Paranorman.
Paranorman was fun.
Yeah.
It's the way the animation was very fluid, at least to me.
Yeah, and they did have that like awesome earth-shattering final action scene.
Oh yeah.
Now that I remember it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like this looks dope. I'm glad that it's going to be a series because or is it just a film?
Based on a series. It is a series, and it's going to be based on the series Werewolf.
Yep, which I personally had never heard of, but like I definitely want to check out the show for sure. Like this took a lot. Like claymation is super expensive and like very meticulous because you got to go frame by frame with that shit. So I'm definitely going to support and push this so that Netflix knows that like we want more like new IPs. Because
oh yeah.
I think it's awesome that they're taking chances on newer stuff that isn't like a guaranteed hit. I hope this takes off. It looks dope.
Oh yeah, it does indeed. Yeah, and so that's the trailers.
Yeah, so those are the trailers for this week. So I'm glad we actually ended on Wolf King. Going from one animation to another, we are now going to officially jump into our main topic of tonight. I know it only took us like 2 hours, but we're here. We're ready to swing into your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. All right, so I'll start with the spoiler-free discussion because we'll actually have a spoiler-free discussion here. This isn't one where we're gonna breeze through it, I think, because there is a lot to talk about spoiler-free. I have to admit, going into this, I was very hesitant. The trailer didn't sell me on it. I thought Peter's voice sounded weird. The animation felt wonky to me, and in some places, honestly, it still does. But it has grown on me quite a bit. When the more we were hearing about this, the more I was kind of nervous about it because I was, we were hearing about like the supporting cast, and I was like, wait. Where are the actual? Where's Flash? Where's Liz? Where's Peter's actual supporting cast? Who are these people? I know who Nico is, but who are these people? I was really hesitant about that. For the most part, the side characters won me over. I still feel like Pearl is kind of just there, but that's not really her fault. She hasn't really gotten enough screen time to fully shine. I mean, in the moments that have focused on her, she's serviceable, but like nothing stands out to me about Pearl just yet.
And I can totally see why in the trailer we thought that she was MCU Liz.
Yeah, because it definitely had that same kind of vibe. They did a phenomenal job with some of the supporting characters. I really like this version of Harry. This is probably my favorite version of Harry so far. Like in animation, because this Harry is a nice middle ground where like he's a rich kid. He's definitely detached. But the thing that I really love that some people might just write off as like kind of just cheap, connect with the kids like modern twist. But I love that this Harry is a social media influencer because like the thing about Harry's character like throughout many different iterations, is that Harry has always craved and needed validation.
Mm-hmm.
Because he didn't get it from Norman, so he would look to it from other people like MJ, like Flash, Gwen, and the like. And as someone who regrettably has to regularly work in social media and admittedly enjoys working in this field in content creation, because I too, thrive and require validation. So like, definitely felt like that was realistic and relatable. But like they also don't make Harry's character hollow. There's this sadness and loneliness to him that I think is like helps to make him a lot more endearing, and you really root for this Harry. So much so that you're looking, when Nico's reading him the riot act, you're kind of looking at Nico like, dude, chill, give the guy a chance, relax.
Mm-hmm.
So like, Harry really won me over as a character. Nico's, I'm a soft sell. I've always loved Nico's character. I'm a huge Runaways fan. This is just Nico's character from the Runaways, but inserted as Spider-Man's best friend. I'll get into my larger overall problems with the structure of the supporting cast more in the spoiler section. But as far as characterization goes for Nico, it's really solid. I think her and Pete's friendship makes a lot of sense. It's a very good friendship. Although she is a little unreasonable, like in the middle sections. But if you know her character from the comics, you understand why. But I could totally understand people who have no idea who Nico is, just looking at her like, yo, she's being a bitch for no reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's totally from like the outsider perspective.
Yeah. Like I'll explain in more detail that in the spoiler section, but yeah, that's Nico. The MCU cameos were pretty decent. It's always good to hear / see Charlie Cox again. I do like the little detail of the fact that because at the time the episode took place in was a parallel time to when Captain America Civil War was taking place. So that was around like 2016-ish. So Matt was in his Daredevil Season 1 outfit, which took place in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
Nice little touch there.
Mm-hmm.
I like the little details that they add in. Their MCU feels very lived in. And again, I like all the little MCU cameos.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange was really well implemented. Much better than I thought. He's honestly more well implemented here than he was in No Way Home. I'll say it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
As much as I like No Way
I
Home.
think this is one of the best appearances of Doctor Strange in a very long time.
In the MCU, yeah, since his first movie. And whatchamacallit, I also like some of the smaller cameos, MCU cameos, like one that some people might not notice. There's a guy vlogging, I think during it's either a bus crash or a car crash or something, and it's the same dude from Shang-Chi who records the bus fight.
Yeah, and
oh no, it was I think he records the race. He records the race between Speed Demon and Nico. Yeah, that's what it was.
He records the race. He recorded the bus fight in Shang-Chi. And he was also the hot dog guy in, I think, Far From Home or Homecoming.
Yeah, one of those. But yeah. The MCU cameos were nice touches. We even get to see Iron Man in a much more comic accurate Iron Man suit, which I was like, I like this. This looks like classic Iron Man. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like the blend of classic Iron Man with a bit of MCU flair. It is quite entertaining. I like it.
Also, in a non-speaking cameo, we get to see Harry's girlfriend, which is none other than Luna Snow.
They're no, they didn't say they're dating.
No,
it's just they know each other, and they took a picture of together on Instagram.
I thought they were dating.
No,
I thought I heard that.
People assumed they were dating because he took a picture with her, and he's
That's where I got the confusion from.
But
yeah, it's cool to see her in the world and be.
Yeah, again, obviously she's getting a lot more spotlight because of Marvel Rivals, and so that's cool to see that, and we do have quite a few Agents of Atlas characters featured in this particular series, so we might actually get to see the Agents of Atlas come together at some point down the line.
One of the things I love about this show is that the narrative it weaved implemented what I love about Spider-Man as a whole, and they did it in a very refreshing way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely feel that.
A lot of the MCU flares to a lot of the characters now, at least to me, kind of hit or miss. I think some of the best performances were MCU implementation effectively were, of course, Charlie Cox, Doctor Strange, and a classic Spidey villain that was in the MCU but never got his chance to shine.
Yeah, I actually, so it's the more I thought about Friendly Neighborhood, the more I started to think, like, man, you know, this is actually what I would want, what I want MCU Spider-Man to be more like.
Yeah, I agree with that, 100%.
Because, like, yeah, he works for Oscorp in this first season, and that's not really a spoiler, that's in the trailer. You know, he works for Oscorp in a way, but like it doesn't feel the same as Pete's relationship with Tony in the MCU.
Absolutely.
He still feels like his own hero and his own character. In Norman and Oscorp are assisting, but they're not like fully taking control in the same way Tony did in the MCU, which is honestly my biggest problem with MCU Spider-Man, is how much of Tony's fingerprints are all over Spider-Man now.
I mean, even when Tony passes away, the next movie is all about like the grief and him trying to be the next Iron Man.
Yeah, so like this actually let Spider-Man be Spider-Man, so I really do appreciate it. That's what made it a lot more refreshing to the MCU. And like I said, this is a version of MCU Spider-Man that I would actually like want to see in the regular MCU. But last but certainly not least, with the supporting characters, I saved them for last because like what a fucking showstopper. And the biggest surprise of the show, because like this character, when they were announced on the sheet, I was like, huh? How is this gonna work? I don't know about this one. Little did I know that this was going to be the most compelling storyline of the entire season, and I would just be sitting here just getting my heart broken by this tragic tale of, you know, being stuck in circumstances. It's so real, but it never crosses into PSA territory. You know what I mean? Like, it shows a real situation, but they play it straight. They don't ever like take a second to look at the camera and be like, see kids, being a gangbanger is bad. You actually get to it's a much more nuanced take on that lifestyle and that lifestyle choice. We'll get into deeper context when we get to the spoilers, but Lonnie is such a good character, and like he is the secondary protagonist of this entire season, and they do such a good job of, pun completely intended, weaving together Pete and Lonnie's stories to serve as foils and parallels.
Oh yeah, indeed.
Alright, so any last spoiler-free thoughts before we jump into spoiler talk?
I do want to say that one of the things that I did like the show is that we all know this is a new multiverse, things are going to be different. I like that they actually explain in universe why the supporting cast is different.
Yeah, I do.
Yep.
I did like it's a good angle to go about it.
Yeah, and also just like the whole like feel of the universe is similar enough to where like you recognize that like the DNA of the original freshman year MCU series is still definitely there. Like, you can even see a lot of basically almost beat for beat things, like, you know, slight spoiler, but again, this is also in the trailer, so it's not really a spoiler. They literally do almost a beat for beat of the Tony Iron Man scene, but just swap in Norman.
Yeah.
Yep. And also, when you see Civil War, as part of proving like that he knows that he's Spider-Man, Tony shows him this video of Spider-Man saving this bus, and we get to see animated that scene.
Yep, him save the bus. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I really like it, man. I like this show. Like really surprised me with how good it is, how much heart it has.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very well-written, character-focused show.
There are some nitpicks here and there.
Oh, I have more than nitpicks. I have some major problems. I have some major problems with it structurally. But we'll get into
one
it.
big problem, like foundationally.
Oh yeah, there is an absolute fundamental problem that is the first thing I'm going to talk about when we jump into spoilers. But I can't talk about it spoiler-free because that is, even though it happens in the first episode, it is a big plot point. So yeah.
With that being said,
the show gets the Channel Chaser seal of approval. Go check it out if you're a Spidey fan. If you were hesitant, trust me, it's worth it. You won't regret it. Also, I do recommend like taking pauses and like watching it in the same way it was released, because I like how it was released, because like I realized this, in the middle of it when they had released the second chunk. I was like, oh, they're dropping this in act, kind of similar to like how Arcane did it. Because if you look at that first batch, it's clearly in Act 1, and then the second batch is Act 2, and then we get into Act 3.
And then Act 4.
Yep. Well, the fourth act is just, resolution. It's just all the cleanup, tying things into.
So
nice
it's kind of more like Act 1, Act 2, Act 2.5, and then Act 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, epilogue.
Pretty much, yeah.
Is more how I feel like it's kind of structured.
I can hear that.
But yeah. So now we're getting into spoilers. So you have been warned. We are now, from this point on, going to be discussing full spoilers on Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Alright, so my biggest issue with this series, and it is a fundamental issue. It's kind of split into two parts. So one is I don't like that this Peter is just a good boy. And what I mean by that is Peter Parker was shaped by his selfishness and his like not just his guilt, but he's a selfish asshole. The thing about Peter that makes him so relatable is that he's a selfish asshole that learns, oh shit, I was a dickhead, I need to do better, and then he does better and he grows. This show kind of puts him on the path of being a baby Steve Rogers, and Pete is not a baby Steve Rogers. Pete definitely aspires to Cap, and he looks up to Cap, and that, makes sense. But like Pete, at his very core, he's a good person, but let's be honest, he's a selfish person. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There was no like Parker curse as it's been.
I mean, and if you've read any Spider-Man comics from any time period, like that Pete is like a fundamentally flawed person. He makes mistakes. He's selfish. He gets angry. Like this Peter is so nice, so good. He's just a hero because he wants to do the right thing, and that pisses me off. That pisses me off.
He does have a moment where he goes a little too far, but
that's
not in the same.
We'll talk about that, because that also pissed me off, because we'll get to that towards the end. But to stay on track with Peter's characterization, yeah, he's too much of a good boy. Like Peter is a good kid. Right, he is a good kid, but having him get his powers after Uncle Ben dies really robs him from a major, fundamental, formative experience. I mean, you guys, I'm sure, in the audience, if not have read the comics, you've at least seen one of the movies or cartoons, or played the video games. You know that Peter, when he first gets his powers, he starts showing off. He goes, he enters wrestling competitions, like, takes spots on variety shows, and like, he's feeling good about himself. He's looking out for number one. He's finally getting the attention that he deserves. He's no longer just this nebbish bullied kid. He's finally on top of the world. And so the promoter stiffs him because he's like, well, you gotta tell me your real name. I can't just write a check out to Spider-Man, so I can't pay you. And so Pete, being the selfish dickhead that he is, when the studio's getting robbed, he just lets the guy get into the elevator. And he's like, well, you decided not to pay me, so that's not my fucking problem. It's not my job. And that same guy goes and mugs and murders Uncle Ben. And Pete learned, the important lesson that, every Spider-Man fan has heard a bajillion times by now. With great power, there must also come great responsibility.
Oh, yeah.
This Peter has all the power, but none of the responsibility. Like, he takes the responsibility, but he just does it to do it. And that doesn't feel...
Yeah, apparently I've heard that if you read the tie-in comic, they address some of that, but they should at least address it then in the actual show.
Great. 100% with that. And
because the thing that Pete says that gets to me, that like really bothers me with this characterization, is like he mentions, he's like, I just want to do the right thing. That's not Peter Parker. Or at least that's not a young Peter Parker. That's not a 15-year-old fresh powered Peter Parker. He had to learn to get to that point. Like, where's your experience?
Yeah.
Like shit. Going to the MCU as an example. Honestly, Pete didn't fully learn that lesson, spoilers for No Way Home, until the death of Aunt May.
And that's where we find out that in the MCU, she's the one who said it.
Yeah.
Because up until that point,
we
had kind of just...
Yeah,
we had just kind of assumed that happened
and he said
before.
And he said something similar where he, like, danced around it without using the exact words of with great power comes great responsibility. He says, my Uncle Ben told me before he died, if good people who can do something stand there and do nothing, they're just as culpable or whatever. I'm probably fucking up the quote, but it was something along those lines.
It's a good paraphrase, and it gets the point across. And one of the things that I want to make a comparison to, because I think arrogance is the egregious, like the most prevalent sin for spider people in general.
Oh yeah.
Because Miguel, he's arrogant. When you first meet him in Spider-Man 2099 #1, he is the most... He's arrogant, petty, spiteful.
Which also, fun fact, Nico's foster family is actually named the O'Haras. O'Haras, yeah.
I clocked that.
Yeah.
Also, later on, there is another reference to 2099.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. At the very end.
And Miguel didn't accept like his destiny and the mantra with great power there must also come great responsibility until his boss fucking drugged him, got him addicted to a really addictive drug.
Yep, rapture.
And the only way to save himself from this addiction
was to splice himself with spider DNA. Well, like the replication experiment that they had of Peter Parker's DNA.
Yep, and with that, I think a lot of Miguel's heroism came through when, like, adversity is another cornerstone of spider people. And this Peter never really had adversity thrust upon him. You know what I mean?
No, I definitely feel that.
They're like going from what you said, Jay, that he's too good of a person. He lived, well, for lack of a better way of saying this Peter Parker is privileged.
No, maybe privilege isn't the exact right word, but like I would say like more coddled for sure. Yeah, he's definitely coddled.
Yeah, I was like, he's in easy mode using a video game. He's playing the game on, and it's not until like the threats start to escalate, and a lot of Norman's true intentions kind of seep through is that danger
And honestly,
the
like,
mantra is like
to,
hidden in his head.
to piggyback off of your whole easy mode comment, like this isn't a problem that stems from the show. Honestly, the MCU Spider-Man created this problem, and I've had this problem ever since. The concept of Spider-Man having a guy in the chair does not work.
No,
Does not work.
it doesn't for me either.
Like, I get it. You want his supporting cast to be involved. That's cool. But MJ has been involved in plenty of stories, directly in, like, you know, in the thick of things, without having to be in the fight or like in Peter's ear. Like, having a dude at the desk, as they said it this time, instead of a guy in the chair, like, it takes away from one of the most interesting elements of Peter Parker as a character, which is his ingenuity. Reed Richards of all people has mentioned to Peter several times that, like, you know, if Peter wanted to, he's just as smart as Reed is. If he just, you know, dedicated himself wholly to science, he'd be right where Reed is at.
And he's not like that.
And
he's not like Reed.
Because, like, he doesn't get a chance to think on his feet because other people are thinking for him. You know, Norman's giving him advice. Harry's giving him advice.
But yeah, I get that. And also the thing kind of irks me though is that I could understand Norman, because Norman is like supposedly this genius and is like more seasoned person because he's older, more mentory. So he's pushing Peter to like learn this stuff. But why Harry?
Yeah. Because, like, I think, because I think Harry, like, Harry finding out about Peter's secret identity is cool. I think, you know, having him be like a confidant, so he has a friend where he can actually talk about his superhero shit with. That's awesome. Keep it there. He doesn't need to be involved in the actual superheroic part. Like, that is my other major problem with this series, is the supporting cast and how this supporting cast is set up. This, while it is nowhere near as egregious, this show has the same exact problem Ultimate Spider-Man did. The problem Ultimate Spider-Man had was that all of Spider-Man's supporting cast were superheroes. And so, like, you never got those smaller, grounded moments that really make Spider-Man Spider-Man, because his friends aren't just regular people. Now, granted, you know, most of these guys have not come into their comic book counterparts yet, in a sense. However, the fact that all of them are powered people annoys the fuck out of me, because like, Spider-Man supporting characters are all normal people. He is the everyman. Like, you know, I never expected Spider-Man to be on the Avengers because he always thought the Avengers were up their own ass all the time, because they would only just hang out with other super people. Like, it doesn't make sense for the his supporting cast to all be, you know, future big time superhero people. Like, you need the function of Spider-Man supporting cast is supposed to be to ground him. So you need people like a Betty Brant, a Ned Leeds, Ben Urich, Jonah.
Granted, some of those people go on to like go off on like their own villainous and stuff, but
it wasn't Ned's fault. It was editorial's fault, because nobody actually knew who the Hobgoblin was. I'm not gonna put that one on Ned.
But also Robbie
never became a villain.
Wasn't he also Hobgoblin?
No. What the fuck are you talking about? Robbie Robertson? We're talking about the same guy, the black Daily Bugle newspaper editor? Are you thinking of Phil Urich, Ben Urich's nephew, who became a goblin?
Yeah.
That's probably who you're thinking of, is Phil Urich. I was like, Robbie Robertson is a whole ass different character. That's the kind, wise black man that always gives Peter sage advice.
I'm thinking of a different Robbie.
Bro, what?
Which Robbie? The only other Robbie I can think of from the Marvel Universe is Robbie Reyes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
How'd you get Ghost Rider from this conversation? We're talking about Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Like, what the fuck?
Why did I say Ghost Rider? I meant Hobgoblin.
No, but you said Robbie Reyes, who is Ghost Rider.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, you see what I mean? You see what I mean? Keep this in, Tony, because I want the audience to be just as confused as we are.
Dude,
oh, you're confused. I'm confused.
moving on to get us back on track. Like I like the biggest example for me is Nico. I like Nico. Nico's one of my favorite Runaways characters, and I think, and it's really interesting how they have implemented her, because it looks like this Nico has already been through all the Runaway shit, and she's trying to escape it, which is why she was so distrustful of Harry, because Harry is the son of a rich billionaire in charge of a mega corporation. And, you know, her parents, as well as, like, her parents' friends, were a super villain cabal of super rich people. And
also
her ex-boyfriend, who betrayed her whole friend group, was also the son of evil businessmen.
Which, you know, was someone that she trusted that hid a big secret from her. Which is why when she finds out that Pete is Spider-Man, she takes it so hard.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense if you know the character's backstory. But I totally get people who don't know her backstory being like, all right, she's being completely unreasonable, because it does feel like she's overreacting if you don't know the context.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Indeed. But yeah, and I get that you're doing a new universe, so you want to do a new like you have your own toy box, so you want to use all your toys that nobody else ever uses. But why do they all have to be powered? Like, you could even just throw in like
That's what I'm
some
saying. Exactly. You could throw in people like fucking, you know, Glory Grant, Carly Cooper, any of the bajillion Spider-Man ex-girlfriends that go on to do nothing.
And
absolutely.
if you want to throw in like a named person, but keep it grounded for Agents of Atlas, why not just like do a teenage Jimmy Woo?
Exactly. It's just, I don't understand the obsession with putting Spider-Man with other powered people. Spider-Man has always been a fucking loner. Like I love and hate Spider-Verse for that reason. Spider-Verse is a great film, great movie, but ever since Spider-Verse has blown up, people have developed this misconception of Spider-Man being a team guy. He is not a team guy. Yes, he's featured a lot in Marvel Team Up, but that's because Spider-Man sells comics. Spider-Man does not like being on teams. Spider-Man works best on his own, which is why he never interacts with Miles ever. Like, the one person he should actually be teaming up with and mentoring, he just says, fuck off, do your own thing.
And the only people that he does like regularly team up with are the people that won't leave him alone, like Deadpool and Kamala Khan.
Deadpool, Kamala Khan, and his thirsty friends with benefits, Felicia.
Yeah. But it takes someone else to make the initiative.
Yeah, it's just, he's not a team person, and they keep trying to make him a team guy, and like they keep trying to reinforce it with like the Avengers stuff now in the MCU, and I'm just like, no. Yes, he was on the new Avengers, but like that was because those guys were already all his friends. Luke Cage, Danny, those are his buddies. Sure, I'll join this team. I team up with these motherfuckers all the time anyway.
And even that, he left them immediately when they were like, hey, so if you want a paycheck, you're gonna have to give us your actual name. It's like, fuck that, I'm out.
Like, the crazy thing is, there are even powered characters that I think would actually work better as Spider-Man supporting characters that actually would fit, especially considering Lonnie's storyline, and I hope maybe they get included later. Cloak and Dagger would have been perfect for this shit.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And Cloak and Dagger were introduced in a Spider-Man comic. Like, they originate from Spider-Man. Ty and Tandy have a really close relationship with Pete. Maybe Tandy a little bit more so, because they made out that one time, even though Tandy was 16 and Peter was in his 20s. But, you know, we're going to skip over that.
And then also, they're a name in Marvel Rival.
That's what I'm saying. Why not Cloak
And also,
Dagger?
you have two people that you can already call up.
Yeah, exactly. Get Olivia Holt and Homie back. I don't remember Homeboy's name. I'm sorry. Tyrone's acting.
I think it was Aubrey something.
Yeah, it's definitely Aubrey something. That sounds correct. But yeah, Cloak and Dagger would have been perfect for this. Instead, you could, like, don't get me wrong. I love when shows show love to more obscure characters, right? That's dope.
Mm-hmm.
And it puts eyes on characters that, maybe people would just like gloss over. But at the same time, like, it really, and like they even said it in interviews, which definitely irked me a little bit, is they just put in characters that they like. They didn't think of like a reason. They just said like, I like Nico, I'm gonna put Nico in here. Oh hey, I like Wave, I'm gonna put Wave in here. Finesse is cool. We'll put Finesse in here. We'll make her Daredevil.
Even she,
we'll make her.
we'll
make her Daredevil sidekick. Fuck his actual sidekick, Blind Spot. Who the fuck is that? Nobody cares about Sam.
Yeah.
Chuck. I care about you, Sam. They did
I feel like
fucking dirty.
I feel like Finesse could have worked as a like genuine Spider-Man supporting cast instead of being just the I'm only here because I'm undercover for Daredevil.
Yeah, that was dumb. They could have honestly played. I was hoping that Finesse, like, I figured she was undercover, but I thought they were gonna play like kind of a teaser to Felicia kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, she's undercover, and then Pete discovers her, and then they end up connecting because of shared superpowered stuff. Doesn't really work out though, and like it's a precursor to like Felicia, who will come down the line.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Also, with the way that it ended, I don't know if we're gonna see Amadeus.
No,
why even include him?
No, we're gonna see Amadeus because Amadeus is running running Oscorp's research lab now.
Yeah, and they no longer work in the main Oscorp.
Yeah, but Norman,
they're now working for Webb.
Yeah, they're working for Webb, but Norman is still gonna be out there doing Norman things, and he's gonna be the Goblin. Who the fuck do you think is gonna make all that Goblin gear?
True, and they already have established.
Cho designed the glider, for God's sake.
And they already established that Gamma is huge in this show.
Yeah, Also, you want to talk about supporting cast? I understand this is only the first season and they got renewed for 3, so clearly they're probably going to do more with these characters, especially now that they've created Webb. But the Oscorp supporting cast are just full of nothing characters. Like, I couldn't tell you a damn thing about anyone outside of Amadeus, and the only thing I could tell you about Amadeus is that he's just science bro Flash Thompson.
Yep. So you got that for Amadeus. You got Finesse, who's just obviously undercover. Then you've got Asha, which
who's just like a nice girl. She's just there.
Yeah, she's sweetheart.
She's just nice.
Yeah. Also, you talk about obscure characters. What the fuck?
Oh, is she an actual character? I thought she was just the original for the show.
No, she is a character. She just is a like one-off Wakandan Academy character.
It's like,
and she does get powers, but not a superhero name.
But yeah, like the Oscorp, like why, like I understand, like the Oscorp internship was a plot device to establish a connection between Peter and Norman, but all the actual like internship stuff felt like filler.
The only thing that I will say that I liked about that was I liked the relationship between Peter and Dr. Connors.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was the only good
Everything else.
That was the only good thing to come out of it. I think Pete and Dr. Connors have a very nice mentor-student relationship.
Like the other scientist guy,
Dr.
who is a comic book.
Dr. Whitman,
who is a comic book character.
Is he related? Is he related to Deborah Whitman?
No, he's the wizard.
He's the wizard? Oh shit!
Yeah.
I didn't hear what his first name was, so I couldn't tell. Oh damn.
But yeah, and I like the actor who plays him, but he was a very annoying character.
He's just
a grouchy old teacher, bro.
He's just the cartoonish asshole teacher stereotype. Like, again, a nothing character. Like it's not Midtown High, it's a different high school, but all the high school characters are interesting. Lonnie's great, Nico's great, Pearl is just kind of there, but she does have some really good moments.
And it looked like towards the end, now that she's no longer with Lonnie, they're going to start developing her.
Which,
especially with that moment where she called him Peter.
Yeah. which is fun fact is just a funny little reversal because whatchamacallit, Liz Allen, Peter's first high school crush, only called him Peter for a long time, and then eventually when they actually started getting close, she starts calling him Petey. So it's a nice little reversal. She calls him Petey, and then now that she's taking him, like Pearl is taking him more seriously, she calls him Peter. I was like, oh, that's a nice little touch there. That's cool.
Yeah, but since we're talking about things that like irritated us, one that really irritated me is when they gave the line "Go get him, Tiger" to Harry.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
Yeah.
That definitely annoyed me. I'll tell you something that like I had to pause the episode, even though like the finale was dope. I completely disagree with this choice. I do not like that Lonnie was the person to stop Peter from killing the Scorpion.
Yeah.
Peter should have did it himself, or at the very least, Harry could have told him.
Yeah.
Lonnie, it doesn't make sense for Lonnie to. If anything, Lonnie should want this motherfucker dead.
Absolutely.
And he was down to kill this fool like 5 minutes ago. What do you mean? That didn't make any sense. And all of a sudden, like, it's like it's just like see, Lonnie's still a good kid. He doesn't want Peter to kill the person. Like, all right, either commit to it or don't. You can't you half stepped right at the finish line. And that pissed me off. He shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have done that. If anything, Lonnie should have encouraged Peter. And when Peter stopped, she's like, "What the fuck is wrong with?" All right. So I want now just looking through my notes. We talked about Pearl. We talked about Harry. We only briefly touched on Norman, so let's talk about Norman some more. Coleman Domingo did fantastic. I like that his Norman isn't crazy. Like the thing that all portrayals of Norman in the past have done is they focused on like the psychosis, how fucking nuts Norman is. This Norman, he feels more like Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
He is a petty, manipulative bitch, and I'm here. I'm here for it. That conversation he has with Dr. Octopus in the jail, chef's kiss. The fact that he picks up the phone while holding a handkerchief, chef's kiss. Norman is great.
And he does have his moments where he goes a little unhinged.
Like he has a temper. I like they show he has a temper, but they don't show him. They don't just focus on, oh, Norman's crazy. Norman's crazy.
Yeah. And the that moment where it was like, with great power comes great respect.
I loved that. I was like, that is perfect for Norman. That sums up Norman to a T.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And like the fact that like Norman is this reverse crack mirror Uncle Ben. Oh my god, that is so good. Also, I like that they cut the bullshit very early on. Like, Norman knew Peter was Spider-Man when he first showed up at his apartment. Clearly. And that's fine because, if you know your comics history, Norman is the first person to figure out Spider-Man's secret identity. Because because Norman decides, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna follow him home. Oh shit, that's my kid's friend. Well, now I know what I'm gonna do. Time for an awkward dinner scene, which they did perfectly in the Sam Raimi movies. Oh my goodness. But
they did do a good homage to that in
From the Neighborhood.
Homecoming.
Yeah. Oh yeah, with Vulture. Yeah. And I like the dinner they had in Front of the Neighborhood. It was equally as awkward, and I also just love the gag of, because Peter's superpowers, he has like a shonen protagonist metabolism. That was great. I love the inclusion of a lot of these smaller, more obscure Spider-Man villains. Fucking Speed Demon.
Yeah, deep cut for that guy.
There are
Unicorn,
which I find funny because that's an Iron Man villain.
Yeah.
I'm like, alright, that feels weird. Like,
and
Rhino I get, Chameleon I get. Why the fuck are you here, Unicorn?
gender bent her for some reason.
because uniforms are for girls, Brian. Don't you see?
Like, do you not understand like the big brain shit that they were trying to do?
Also, I could be wrong, because you guys are better with names.
Mm.
That guy that was helping Unicorn, is he Rhino?
Yeah, that's Rhino.
Yes, that is Rhino.
Yeah, the guy who was like, all right, Spider-Man, we're even now. Yeah, that's Rhino.
Interesting, because you know who else that is?
Who that?
Grog.
Oh yeah. That was I could tell that was Travis Willingham.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird because his wife is married.
In the Insomniac games, yeah.
Yeah, in the Insomniac.
Mm-hmm.
But
what do you call it? Speed Demon and what the her boyfriend is also an obscure character. I had the name and I
wasn't he Speed Demon?
No, that was like the late
no, the lady was Speed.
Lady was supposed to be Tarantula.
Oh, the lady was Tarantula. There we go. That's what it is. Yeah. His girlfriend was Tarantula. He was Speed Demon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I hope we get to see other like obscure Spider-Man villains. Like, give me Big Wheel. I want to see Big Wheel.
I want Big Wheel. Let's go.
Apparently, I found out that in an interview that for some reason the two one was one person, one was one group of characters that he requested to use, but Marvel told him no. We're the FF and Big Wheel.
What? No Big Wheel?
Lame.
Boo. Also,
Boo.
no Johnny Storm, Peter friendship. Boo. If there's a one-powered person that I would accept to be in Peter's friend group, it's Johnny Storm. That's his.
That's
maybe they were like, you can't use him until the movie comes out.
I hope so.
No, that's lame as fuck. I hate it.
Look, Johnny and Pete is one of my favorite bromances in all the comics. Like,
don't give me that bullshit.
That's my guy.
But Joseph Quinn has stated that he wants to do that with Tom.
Johnny is my dude. That is my guy. Like, if you know, the guys have compared me personality-wise, in DC to Dick Grayson. If I had to choose a Marvel counterpart, Johnny Storm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny Storm. That's my guy, man. Like, I would love, if you're gonna throw powered people in there, Johnny makes sense. Do what the Ultimate Comics did. Give me fucking Peter Parker, Johnny Storm, and Bobby Drake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those three goofy lads need to have fun.
I want to see that. Those guys are awesome. And fun fact, in the 616, they were college roommates.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, overall, I think the show is really good. But man,
yeah.
like those character problems, man, they're going to build up as the seasons goes on. And with the recent announcement, I got really fucking annoyed.
Yeah.
Because like at first they say Gwen Stacy and they release Gwen Stacy concept art for season 2, and I'm like, yay! Gwen Stacy, finally a Spider-Man supporting character that's actually a Spider-Man character! Yay!
Let's go!
And then immediately after, following post, Spider-Gwen concept art, and I'm like, son of a bitch!
Boo!
I hate you, Spider-Verse!
Like I told you guys off camera, this all but confirms my theory that I had, the whole time travel thing, is that this is a universe where Peter was not supposed to be Spider-Man, but due to time travel fuckery, he became it.
Oh shit, you know what I just realized, Brian? What makes you even more right?
What?
The fact that Peter is studying directly with Doc Connors.
Yes.
He would have become... Oh my god, he would have become the Lizard!
Mm-hmm. And he would have been, like, Spider-Gwen's Uncle Ben. But now that that's no longer a thing, that leads to another issue.
Fuck.
What is going to be her inciting? Are we going to lose George Stacy?
I mean, we've got to lose George Stacy. That's just a thing with Gwen. But also, here's my other problem with Gwen. And honestly, Miles has this problem too in the comics as well. Why this does not work for me, and why it did not work in the Spider-Man 2017, because they had a bajillion Spider characters in that, and that did not work at all. It's redundant.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Miles at least has his variations. He has the Venom Blast and the invisibility. Gwen has nothing different. Gwen is just Spider-Person.png with a cooler costume.
I tell you who would have been amazing, and I think
Spectacular.
just different enough from Peter, and they kind of, maybe you could say that they kind of technically hinted at Aranya.
Yeah, Anya Corazon.
Yeah.
Anya Corazon is cool. It leans more into like the magic side of the spider totem thingy. Also, like, I guess that girl whose bag the spider went into was Gwen. I was hoping it was Syl, but it was probably Gwen. Now that we know Gwen is confirmed for season 2.
Yeah.
I think it's so dumb because, like, the reason Spider-Gwen is an interesting character is because she has her own world, and that world is so fucking cool. You put her in a world with Peter, it's just not as cool. And like,
Yeah, and because she lost her Peter, she doesn't have like his smarts to rely on, so she has to think creatively on her feet like the dancer that she is.
she's a drummer, and she is actually pretty smart.
Well, she's also a dancer.
Is she a dancer? I thought
Yeah.
she was just a drummer. Huh.
I think she's both.
I only remember seeing her with her band. I never saw her do any ballet stuff. Yeah, no, like the thing that makes me mad is that, like, using Spider-Gwen, to me, as a Spider-Man fan, makes me think that you think regular Gwen Stacy is not important.
Yeah.
And that's bullshit. Because while I do still think Gwen Stacy is kind of just a boring, perfect dream girl, I'm sorry, Gwen fans, but if you've read the original Spider-Man comics, that's all she really is. Like, Gwen is still very important because, again, going back to grounding, Gwen being in Peter's life is what makes Peter want to give up being a hero, to just have a normal life, to just be with Gwen. Like, it's so important to have normal Gwen Stacy. Spider-Gwen, it's not gonna hit the same. It's just not. And like, what's next? Are you gonna tell me you're gonna include MJ in the series, but you're gonna give her the stupid fucking jackpot powers?
Yeah. I wouldn't be okay with that, personally.
Like,
No.
just give me normal people, damn it. I just want normal people. Is that so hard to ask?
Yeah.
I want normal people.
Like, the super, like, you know, Jimmy, like, going back to another successful animated series we were talking about previously, My Adventures. Jimmy and Lois are empowered, and they're great characters.
Yeah.
Lois is questionable,
Like
but, you know.
Most people.
like we knew that they were gonna go this route because, you know, comic book characters and their names and everything. But on the CW's The Flash, a lot of people say that the show kind of went a little downhill when Cisco and Caitlin started getting their powers.
I'm one of those people, because they ran out of shit for them to do once they tried to make them into heroes, because they had already established them in a role where they were just regular people for Barry to bounce off of and ground himself towards. Iris being a part of Team Flash ruins that, because Iris is supposed to be out there, like, as kind of a mouthpiece for Barry. Like, that's why Harry doesn't work as the dude at the desk. Harry, if anything, what they could have done for Harry that I think would have worked perfectly, instead of making him the dude at the desk, make him this world's Danica. And when I say Danica, you guys might not have played the Miles Morales game or Spider-Man 2 from Insomniac, but basically turn Harry into a spider YouTuber.
Yeah.
He, as an influencer, counters the negative press that J. Jonah Jameson puts out with him being like, no, Spidey's cool, y'all. You know, follow us on this page. You know, he handles Spider-Man social media. Have him do that. Like,
that would be cool.
That's
sick as fuck.
And I do feel like Harry is going to be more in that capacity next season, so I don't think that's going to be as big of a problem. But
yeah. And
but
I will say that I did like that moment where Harry gives him the pep talk and gives him.
Also, last thing that I want to just a little thing I want to complain about. You're not slick, Disney. I saw what you fucking did. I've been to Disney World in the last few years. I know what you did there. WEB is the acronym they use for the Spider-Man Training Academy ride in Disney World. You just did that as product placement for your fucking amusement park.
Oh damn. Also, did you look up the names that Harry stuff.
I paused it and I saw a good chunk of them. I did see Tiberius Stone, who is Miguel's dad / boss.
Some of them were
Which
just
is
like
weird because, $20.99. I feel like your math is off there, buddy.
Yeah, it's like, why have the progenitor of the fucking Alchemax Corporation in your show, bro? What?
Yeah.
Because
Also,
that would mean because
Yeah.
fun fact of I wouldn't say it's interesting. It's something I tend to do. I try to see how old I would be with certain years, especially with comics related stuff. With 2099, I would be somewhere in like, I did my math correctly, like damn near I would be over 100 years old or something like that. Close to 90. I don't recall. And I'm like, what the fuck?
But yeah, so like some of the other names on there. Obviously we saw the Oscorp people.
yep. Oddly enough, I forgot her name now, but the new chick, the new Captain Marvel villain, the blonde one who's like I think an embodiment of Stone. She's one of the names there.
I'm blanking, but I know who you're talking.
Also, several of them were a couple of them were friends to Nadia Pym.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the members of Girl.
Yep.
Yeah, that's weird.
Telling
And
you,
one
man.
of them seemed to be like an FBI agent that works with the Inhumans.
I'm telling you, they're just putting names to put names up there. Like,
Well, to be fair, some of them weren't like actual comic names.
no, but like what I mean is like what I was talking about before with like they just put characters in this show just because they like them.
Yeah, some of those names were just IRL people.
Yeah, those are just people that worked on the show. But yeah, again, I know I'm sounding a lot more negative, but I really did like the show. I'm just saying, man. But the problems I do have really fucking bother me as such a hardcore Spider-Man fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Spidey is my favorite superhero.
Same.
Like, this is one I keep fucking close to the chest. So, and
I will
Marvel
say-
already pisses me off with how they treat him. So, like, I'm already on a fucking hair trigger.
But I will say that I am excited for the future and for them to try to explain what the fuck was up with that final
With the final what?
the twist.
Oh yeah, with the paradox.
Aunt May.
No, with
Aunt May.
They're fucking doing Amazing Spider-Man 2. It's just like what?
Richard fucking Parker. Why are you here, bro? Are you supposed to be dead?
That was the one thing where I was like, okay, show. Now you're doing something different that I'm interested in because the comics never explore Peter's parents. Only thing we know is that they were S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. And
Richard, why the fuck are you fucked up, bro?
Yeah, what the fuck is going on?
Oh yeah.
Like, does Peter know that his dad's in jail?
I don't think so because
He
Aunt May
does.
said-
Oh, he does?
Oh.
He does. Yeah, according to an interview that the creator of the show said, yes, Peter is aware that his dad's locked up.
Oh, shit.
Oh, okay.
Then what the fuck you do, Rich?
Like, what?
I don't know.
Like, bro, what?
But
Because, like...
also,
Mhm.
did you notice who voiced him?
No.
Josh.
Oh,
Josh
Josh
Keaton?
Keaton? Nice.
Yeah.
Nice homage.
But seriously, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's the only one where I'm like, okay, show, you have my attention. What the fuck is gonna go on here?
How big of a role do you play, Rich? Tell me.
I do,
And also,
and we did see Lonnie's skin is turning gray.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is. And
It
also,
looks like
we gotta give it to this show's at least a final fight choreography immaculate.
They
so
were,
damn.
they were like, I think they're gonna try to pull a Michael Jackson with Lonnie.
oh yeah, the vertigo. That's what I was gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's gonna first she's gonna start wearing a glove, and eventually she's like, no, you know what? Fuck it, Tombstone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And also,
Although it is interesting that now in the origins for this, Tombstone became Tombstone due to gamma gas.
It's gamma gas. To be fair, it was radioactive gas in his original origin too.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think it was specifically Gamma. They tied it to Gamma here to tie it with the Avengers and Hulk stuff. But yeah, it was radioactive gas in his original origin in the 60s.
And Otto was fun in this show, so yeah.
Which bravo to the dude from Cannibal. Cannibal.
His Octavius was damn near perfect. I also want to see more of his little assistant.
Oh yeah. Which I googled who he is.
Who is he?
It looks like he might be Frogman.
Oh, nice. But yeah, like real quick, we didn't get to talk, in more depth about Lonnie. Before we get into final thoughts, I want to spend a section about him because like he was so good. I love how nuanced. I love how nuanced this shit is because. Like the thing that a lot of people don't know about gangs and gang culture is, that gangs started out because people from minority cultures moved into white areas, and the white people would start fucking with them. So they banded together to protect themselves and their community, and thus they formed gangs. That's how the Bloods and Crips, GDs, BDs, all the major gangs were formed. They were just collectives out to protect neighborhoods. More often than not, they were offshoots of the Black Panther Party, in some way, shape, or form sometimes. But yeah, like Tombstone, like Lonnie, it definitely feels like he is taking more of that protector approach. He's not just trying to be a gangster. He is genuinely trying to protect the people of his neighborhood, which I think is what makes it so tragic.
Yeah.
Because that one of these days he's just gonna go too far. And it's gonna break your heart because he's such a good kid. But that's just how it happens in real life. Good kids get caught up in just a bad place, and they can't get out because they feel like there is no way out. And so, like, Lonnie's story was so good. Just the entire time, I was just sitting there like, Lonnie, no, you know better. Don't do this.
Like, bro, don't do it, man. Like, what? Why'd you do it?
And that scene with his brother, I'm supposed to be the disappointment.
Yep.
Yeah, and also love how Lonnie's interaction with the people he meets through this path to Tombstone.
Yeah, like he actually develops a really strong connection with the other gang members.
Especially when Big Don
he just dips. He just decides, nah, peace. I'm fucking out of here. Fuck that.
Yeah.
The Scorpions killing motherfuckers. I'm going.
Yeah, and it's under understandable fear, but to the rest of the crew, he's like, Big Don's a bitch.
You ditched your people, and then fucking Tombstone was the one to step up, so that's why he gets the reins. It's gonna be really it reminds me. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the fucking Penguin.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like Tombstone isn't like an outright monster like Oswald is. He definitely has more of a heart, and it's much more clear. But man, it reminds me so much of Penguin, and that's why I'm just like, oh, this is going to be so good, and this is gonna hurt so much, but I'm here for it.
And just before we kind of go to final thoughts and ratings, I have to say this personally, just for myself. This is one of, if not my favorite interpretations of the Scorpion.
Oh, it is definitely the best interpretation of Scorpion, period. Like, there is no better interpretation of Scorpion. This Scorpion was a threat. He was scary.
Yes. It finally made Mac Gargan scary.
Although, like, Mac Gargan does not sound like a Chicano gangster's name.
No.
But he was a bad motherfucker. He was a bad motherfucker.
Yes, he was. I also like how they
and I love just his taunts. Like he sounds as crazy as you would expect a Norman Osborn. He's just like, just let's go, Aranya. Let's go.
And
you ready to finish this shit?
And that's one of the things I love about this version of Mac. And he, like, the actual actor that got to play him in Homecoming.
Yep. It's the guy who voices him here. Yeah.
He deserves to get a similar treatment in the MCU, but we're probably never going to get that. And if we got this here, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
that guy, that particular actor, he's like he's like a younger modern Danny Trejo. He is always playing like the most badass thugged out Mexican dude.
Oh yeah, indeed.
And I gotta say, as simple of a design, a lot of these powered characters, a lot of these weapons supplied by Otto are. Otto got really creative with a lot of these design elements.
Oh yeah,
Not gonna lie.
Again, I like that they're mixing in classic design elements like of like the Ditko stuff, but giving it a modern touch up was really cool.
And
oh yeah,
Scorpion by far has my favorite like overall design.
Oh yeah, same.
It's not that it's like with his original incarnation in the comics where it's like a big green bodysuit. It has elements of that. It has elements of what the 90s did, which is like a similar bodysuit.
Which, again, I don't want to spend too much time on speculation because we've been going on for a while, but like it made me think with how they set up Scorpion, like, yo, what if instead of Eddie Brock, they just do the Dark Reign thing? And
I'd be down for that, especially with this Scorpion.
After Pete, they make this Scorpion Venom. I would fucking love that because this Scorpion, holy shit!
And also having, because they're definitely going to remove the tail if they're not able to remove the body apparatus. The tail can be removed.
I mean, it's not fused to him like it is in the comics. He literally did just put on a suit, so they should be able to take it off just.
So it's actually the actual like body piece, like the.
Oh, is it? So they did actually fuse it to him? Oh,
interesting.
Because remember he overheated.
Right, he overheated and it fused. Oh yeah, then it fuses. Right.
Yeah,
right.
so like the test plate, that's singed right into his skin. You can see the burn mark.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Also,
so removable tail, but keep the chest plate because that can't be removed without causing more damage.
But yeah, Scorpion's phenomenal. I want to see more of his right-hand lady.
Which, by the way, that is a cool way to incorporate the females.
Yeah. She was a badass in her own right.
Absolutely. She menaced the fuck out of Lonnie.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we've been. I'm sure we could keep going all day, but let's go ahead and wrap this up and get into final thoughts and ratings. I'll start. Again, I really like this show. I know you heard me like rant and ramble about like big fundamental structural problems, but that's me speaking as a diehard Spider-Man fan. In the same way I was when we reviewed Spider-Verse like a couple years ago with Cap.
Mm-hmm.
I went so hard because I love this character so much. But this show was very good. It was very refreshing. It has most of the important parts that I love and want and need from a Spider-Man show. I'm still not 100% on this Peter Parker because he's too much of a good boy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping he'll get some edges sometime soon. Fucking grow up a little bit. But we'll see. I've been kicking around a number this entire time, and I've been back and forth on it. I think I will settle on 8.5 because like it's really good, but like I can't give it the 9 because of those big problems I have with it. But like even though they're big problems, they're not big enough to knock it all the way down to an 8 for me, because it seems like for me now 8 is not that 8 is supposed to be average, but 8 is kind of my average. It was really good score, and I think this is beyond really good, but it's not like, oh my god, this is a 9 or 10 like a Shogun or a Monarch. So 8.5 feels right. Brian, you're up.
Yeah, initially my thought was to give it higher, but then like you started bringing up the other shows, and I'm like, is this really on the same level as Shogun, or do I just want it to be such a big Spider-Man fan?
Exactly.
Yeah, I know variety is like the spice of life, but yeah, everything that goes down, there's a lot of great, but there is also a decent amount of frustrating that I think knocks it down to, I'll agree, 8.5.
All right, Tony.
I share your guys' sentiment on that. It won me over by episode 3.
Oh yeah,
fully
for sure.
And I personally think if we explore the world a little bit more, I can actually learn to appreciate it more than I do now.
Mm-hmm.
to say that I don't appreciate it or think it's low quality. Absolutely not. It's actually pretty high quality. It told a very compelling story, but there's things that keep it back from me giving it a higher score because of how invested I am in the character of Peter Parker, who doesn't feel like, well, Peter Parker. So it's an 8.5 for me as well.
Okay.
And I feel like that this all like stemmed from just kind of the fundamental thing of the fact that this was originally a MCU spinoff, and you can tell still.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because like even though it's a different world and a different Peter, it still very much feels like MCU Peter, and I don't like it. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I don't like not that Tom is a bad actor. I just don't like MCU Peter.
No,
Yeah.
when you get to like when he can be himself, like at the different parts of Homecoming where there's not Iron Man involved,
Yep.
or No Way Home where he's just interacting with the other Peters and the villains.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's Spider-Man, and I think Tom Holland does a really good job
Oh yeah,
at laying
he's
Spider-Man.
100% capable of doing it. It's just they never let him be Spider-Man, and that's why I say I don't like MCU Spider-Man, because they never let him be Spider-Man. But you know, to stay on the positive side, it looks like, given the direction No Way Home went, and you know where they're moving forward, that they're gonna actually move Tom Holland into a more Spider-Man-like direction, which hopefully means other adaptations will follow suit, and From the Neighborhood will, in this next season, make Peter more Peter, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Also, I want to see Felicia.
Give us Felicia, damn it.
I also think Felicia is going to be in the next Spider-Man movie, 100%, because, like, the comics are pushing her so hard right now.
Mm-hmm.
She
Also,
is everywhere. I'm like, they're going to put her into a fucking movie. I know it. I can feel it.
So the rumor is the latest round of rumors going around right now is that Zendaya will be in it, because they confirmed that, but that she will be in a diminished role, and that the film will introduce a new love interest, Spider-Man. So hopefully Felicia.
Please, Felicia. Please, Felicia.
And you know, can it be her fellow Euphoria?
Oh man, dude, if Sydney Sweeney wasn't in fucking Madam Web, she would be so good as Felicia.
Well, hey, it's a different multiverse.
Yeah, do that. Just cast Sydney Sweeney. Do it. She looks so good.
We
good.
already got one of them doing a superhero, because their Aranya is going to be Hot Girl.
Oh, nice. Yeah, so just fucking do it. Just fucking do it, you cowards. Cast Sydney Sweeney. She'd be perfect.
Yes, do it, you fucking cowards.
Get Sydney Sweeney. Or Dove Cameron, I think, also could do it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dove Cameron would be great. I know people kind of wanted her more for Gwen, but like, have you seen how much more like seductive she is nowadays, man?
Oh, dude, just watch her music video for Boyfriend.
I know, that's what I'm saying. She can pull off the femme fatale Felicia easy. But yeah,
absolutely.
Give me Felicia Hardy. I want Black Cat. I want
Mm-hmm.
I want MJ. Give me actual Spider-Man people.
Mm-hmm.
Where's Jonah? Where's Robbie? Like Betty Brant, all those guys.
Also, can we get more Spidey villains, please?
Yep.
Like, give us Big Wheel, you fucking cowards.
Yes, give us Big. I unironically, like, dead ass want Big Wheel.
Also, you know who I'd want? Stiltman.
Stiltman. I'd love to see dumb characters like the Kangaroo as one off.
Also, he's going to be in the, if you believe the leaks, he's going to be in Rivals. Why not Paste Pot Pete?
Yeah.
The Crabster. Crabster would be great. Paste Pot Pete. Also, like, you know, he started out as a Spider-Man villain. We already have Charlie Cox in this bitch. Get Big Willie. Big Willie.
Oh, that is not where I thought you were going to go.
Hell, Punisher too. Throw him in there.
What I was thinking that you were
definitely put Frank in there, but Big Willie first.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
Big Willie gets priority. Like,
I'm down for that.
because, like, Vincent D'Onofrio interacting with Spider-Man is something I've wanted to see ever since I saw Vincent D'Onofrio as the Kingpin.
And you know who else wants to see them interact?
Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yup.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I'm like, yeah, put Big Willie in this series, and like, not right now, but like when Tombstone like really gets his rise to power, have him fucking get crushed by the Kingpin.
Yeah,
oh,
dude.
boy, that would be great.
And you know, do an enemy of my enemy,
It's
teaming
like-
of old friends,
Yeah.
and have to team up together.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. Yeah, that would be so good. But yeah, give me Kingpin. Throw Frank in here because Frank was a Spider-Man villain, and I still consider him a look.
Hell, Marvel, please, for the love of Jesus Christ, give me a better fucking Craven than you gave us.
Exactly. Do the one from the Insomniac games or Ultimate Spider-Man or hell, I'll take the '90s cartoon. God damn it, something.
Yeah, give us
Like-
Craven as on par with the Craven from Craven's Last Hunt, because that guy was a menace.
Mm-hmm.
Craven would be cool. I mean, because we already saw Chameleon, so like I would love to see Craven show up. There are a lot of fucking Russians in this universe's New York. I mean, not there aren't already Russians in regular ass New York, but like it's just so funny because like looking back at it, it's like wow, man, Cold War fever is wild. So many Russian bad guys.
Yeah, it's rampant.
But
It's
yeah, so that
insanity.
is pretty much it for our discussion of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. We loved it. We got very passionate about it. We went on and on and on about it. If you've stuck all the way through, thank you. You are a legend, a champion. You deserve a cookie. Tony, get yourself a cookie after you finish editing this. You've earned it.
You know I'll be.
Because this is going to be a monster.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Brian, why don't you tell the lovely folks at home what we will be covering next time on the podcast?
Well, we will be stepping away from Marvel, finally, and we will be heading back in time and over the pond to cover the Hulu original by the creator of Peaky Blinders, 1,000 Blows.
Pause. You just gotta throw that in there just in case. But yeah, we reacted to the trailer. It looked awesome. It fit right into the schedule. Thankfully, the episodes are nowhere near as long as we initially thought, so it's not going to be as difficult to binge through. But looking forward to it. If it's anywhere as good as Peaky Blinders or even something like Bloodhound, this is going to be great. I can't wait to see how this turns out. But until next time, we'll catch you guys later. Peace. Thwip, thwip.